Yes, indeed. You recognize the voice, don't you? It's your boy Koku, coming at you as the host this week. We have a couple of things to discuss tonight. There's going to be a special announcement later on in the show. Before we do anything, make sure you guys hit the like button. Smash the like button. And I always ask you guys to do this, but please share the show on your social medias. Tag me when you share the link on Twitter or X. Let people know what you're tuned into tonight. Let's get the engagement going. Let me explain something to y'all. I was going to tie into what the announcement is later tonight. YouTube works, as far as the algorithms go, if they're being honest about it. YouTube works on interactions. How many people are present and viewing when the show starts, how many people are, hitting in the chat, saying greetings and peace. They look at all of that stuff, and that they show that to a small group of people who are interested in this kind of content, and then they expand the reach if the interactions go up. That's if they're being true about how it works. So I'd like you guys to make sure when you come in, smash that like button, share the show, more interaction, say what's up in the chat. Don't just sit back quietly all the time, all right? We have a great show lined up for you guys tonight. We're going to be talking about Mandela tonight, and we're going to be talking about Mandela. Should we disown him as a liberator or not? We're talking about the FBA. You guys know who the FBA are. By the way, drop a 1 in the chat for me if you can hear my voice. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear my voice. That's a part of the engagement, guys. A topic that we have tonight is about FBA and if they've finally been exposed. We're going to have a conversation about Kevin Roberts, the architect of Project 2025. We're going to talk about Rastas being a crucial element to the revolution in Grenada. And lastly, we're going to ask a question. This one pertains to my hometown, to the Bahamas. How true is this about the Bahamas? We'll talk about all that tonight, time permitting. So I got a couple of ones. You guys can hear me. Great. In the meantime, I'm going to start the show officially. And on the other side, I'll drop Shoot the Breeze topic number 1, as well as introduce any and all of my panelists. So please stay tuned.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio. Welcome to the Bitter Medicine Podcast, where it's all about Black empowerment. Our show focuses on Black news and entertainment, arts, science, economics, history, people, and strategies that uplift, empower, and motivate Africans within the diaspora. And now, your host, whose favorite color is black, Goku.
Welcome back to the Bitter Medicine Podcast. I am your host, Koku. Just want to remind you guys before we get the show rolling that this show is part of a podcast network called KWAZ Radio. There are other shows on the network you are invited to tune into.
This is D Webb with the Harsh Reality Podcast, asking you to tune in where we tackle the news of the day that affects our community, only on KWAZ Radio.
Peace, family. This is Oni, inviting you to listen to the Pro-Black Perspective where black problems are addressed with black solutions.
Greetings, fam. Tune in to The Learning Curve with me, the Revolutionary Matron on KWAZ Radio.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio.
That is correct. Make sure you're also tuned in to BBN Network. That's Brother Bakari, the Forecast Radio. Make sure to support Forecast on his new book on Amazon. You can also support by tuning into the matron, Revolutionary Matron, who's currently reading Forecast's book. So you can also tune into that as well. But support the brother as well. Purchase his book. Let's put our money where our mouths are. And lastly, make sure to check out and support the brother Kofi, the Black Critic, as well. Shout out to Lord of Slaughter, Trigger Happy, Daily Affirmations by Pauline. Good evening to you. Shout out to all of you. Thank you all for being here. Let's keep the engagement going, guys. Drop emojis, drop whatever you. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I guess that tab decided to speak. But make sure to drop emojis and thoughts, comments, observations, whatever it is. Let's boost the engagement, especially at the start of the show. With that said, man, let me introduce my first panelist of the night. That will be one Jackadero. Jackadero, how are you this week?
In a good mood, my guy, man. Thank you, my brother, and thank you all for being here on Shoot the Breeze, episode 242. Appreciate you, Koku.
Yes, indeed. 242. Let's get right into it. I guess while we wait for others to join us tonight, let me drop Shoot the Breeze topic number one. Shoot the Breeze topic number one says, I did not know this about Mandela. Should we disown him as a liberator if he picks and chooses what black people deserve? The same rights as his people. I guess it's which black people? Proofread, folks. Proofread for me. But that should be topic number one. This comes with a link. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Oh, no, I think I shared the wrong thing. Hold on, let me share the right one. This is the tab I want to share. Let me make sure you guys can see my screen before I go further. Yes, you can. Just like that. I have to share it again because audio dropped out for some reason. Let's do it again. All right. Now you guys should be able to see my screen. Drop a heart emoji for me if you hit the like button already. Drop a heart emoji if you hit the like button already. So you see who it is on the screen. Dr. Khalid Muhammad. Let's hear what he has to say about Nelson Mandela.
Nelson Mandela came here with a song and a dance, buck dancing for some change from the white man, with a tin cup for the white man. Put on the Yankee cap at Yankee Stadium. He's an honorary Yankee when all the people of the world, the Viet Cong, said he loved the Kennedy family and he was hurt over the tragedies of the Kennedy family. The hell with the Kennedy family. Of the suffering of black people, Africans here in America. He said, I did not come here to get involved in the internal affairs of America. What the hell do you mean, Nelson Mandela? We fought for you for 27 years to get your raggedy, rusty, dusty behind out of prison and applied pressure on the no good South African devil government, and you come to America and say that you didn't come to get involved in the internal affairs of America. You can't speak up for us. When he threw a fist in the air, you say, this is America. She's bold every time. Tell her, don't do this. Don't go there and have the hunger strike with the unions and the mines and those who are striking to free all of the political prisoners. Next thing you know, Winnie is right there with her combat boots on and a military fatigues on. Not Nelson, Winnie. Weak Nelson Mandela came here with a song.
Well. Interesting words from Dr. Khalid Muhammad on one Nelson Mandela. In the chat, Trigger Happy says, Winnie Mandela is much greater. A lot of people feel that way too. I have a follow-up question I'm going to ask you guys after we discuss what we just saw. Jack, it's just you and I for now, but tell me, man, what are your thoughts on Dr. Khalid Muhammad's outlook of Nelson Mandela?
Man, so one of the things that I had also come across with this is one of the things that I had also come across with Nelson Mandela was that he divorced Winnie, and it wasn't because they fell out of love. It was a political move because he didn't want to be tied to the political party that was labeled as terrorist or extreme. Man, this is the tough thing about being a president, right? You have to either you toe the line on who you quote unquote go to war with, or you just go full out fledged and is, hey, the writing is on the wall. You guys are my enemy. With the first part, I think Khaled pointed out was, I don't know if it was we'll start off with the John F. Kennedy statement and him saying that he was saddened by the death or the assassination of Kennedy. That's one thing. Maybe that's just a PR statement. It's oftentimes that, people, especially in politics, will say things to be deceptive. Again, I don't know. I don't know if truly Nelson felt that way about the assassination of Kennedy. I don't know. I don't know if it could have been just a political statement. But nonetheless, I'm not going to necessarily say that I'm not going to hold it against him because it's one president to another. Now, sure, he wasn't president at the time, 1965, 1964, when Kennedy was assassinated, and Nelson was still incarcerated. So, but, from one president to another, it's nothing new to send out some sort of statement saying, hey, this is a sad loss. You guys would even be surprised that there were some European countries after the assassination of Patrice Lumumba. There were some European countries that sent out their condolences, believe it or not. And now, does it mean that they feel for Patrice? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, you're complicit. No, come on. Everybody in the world knew that the United States and Belgium were behind the assassination of Lumumba, but nonetheless, European heads of state did send out their condolences, just because it's like a code of conduct. It's like, hey, once these things happen, just do your best to show face. Now, the second part, him saying, I don't want to get into the internal affairs of America, that's tough because I know that the Black Panthers, the new Black Panther Party, was instrumental just because of documents that I've seen into his release and the end of apartheid in South Africa, and then many other countless groups here in the United States. This is a tough thing. I know that when it comes to African heads of state and the issues in Black America. It's either, again, you go full-fledged or you don't. President Ruto, was it during the Biden administration, came to Atlanta on, one of the many things that he did was establish that bridge with HBCUs like Hellman and Clark with Kenyan students. And then also saying something along the lines of, hey, the graduates of Hellman and Clark Atlanta will have opportunities in the country of Kenya. So did he even, again, yeah, he's president, so I can't even say did he have that position. But who's to say what came with that? Because he was released and it was on a condition of, hey, you're not going to kick us, aka the Afrikaners. You're not going to kick us out of the country. Am I going to disown Mandela? No, I'm not going to disown Mandela. I just know that being a president of, again, they were the last, I believe, South Africa was the last nation in Africa to get independence. That says a lot. In 1994, right? 93, 94, while the rest of Africa got it in the 60s and 70s. Jeez, what the hell was going on in South Africa? Again, one of my father's words one time about Nelson Mandela's treatment in prison was he said that they made him dig a hole in his cell or somewhere in the prison. And I'm not going to explain, but if you ever read about his time in prison, just know that he dug a hole because he had to do something into the hole. Just use your imagination, guys. I don't know. I'm not going to disown Mandela. Me personally, just because I'm not 100% sure on what goes. That comes with what they say it comes with the job. It's a newly freed country, freed with parentheses. And look at modern day South Africa today. Again, you're having Nelson Mandela not wanting to, well, pretty much pussyfooting around the Black American issue when he on his visit to the United States. But look at modern day South Africa now. You have modern day South Africans, Black South Africans, giving a deadline to other Black immigrants, saying you have until June 30th to leave. But these guys, the Afrikaners who own a whole white town, an entire white town that we can't step in, we're not going to give them a deadline. It's pretty pathetic.
Appreciate that, Jack. Yeah, I often wonder about some of these things, I can remember well the day they announced Mandela was freed. And I can remember how happy people were. Even in that little island I'm from, people were very happy when Mandela was freed. And I think I told you all before, Mandela came to the Caribbean and spoke at the College of the Bahamas, and I actually was able to meet him and shake his hand.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Well, yeah, he came to speak at the College of Bahamas. They had high schoolers. That was my first year at COB. And they had a bunch of high schoolers that they brought in to hear him speak and stuff like that. And I happened to be standing at a side entrance, not at a main entrance. I was at a side entrance, and they happened to bring him through that side entrance. And I was able to meet him and shake his hand.
I know this is a little bit of what was he like? What was he like in real life?
Physically, like a small guy to me, anyway. But he just was gracious. He just was like a gracious guy, just smiling. Same thing that you probably could conjure in your brain when you think about him is exactly how he appeared. He was gracious. He was smiling. And that's it. My thing that I think about when I think about Mandela and folks like that is, 27 years in prison, And you could only imagine what he's gone through during that time, especially those first few years. Could you stand 10 toes down? I'd like to ask Jack that and anyone else who joins the panel, but also to the chat. Like, realistically, do you guys think you could stand 10 toes down? And I'll comment something here, and I know some people ain't gonna like this. I guess welcome back, Koku, huh? Earlier we saw Trigger Happy say, well, Winnie Mandela greater. But you know something? Winnie Mandela didn't spend 27 years in prison. All due respect. You know, so I wonder if folks really think about what 20 goddamn 7 years is. You know, let me see. When I shook his hand, that had to be like in 93.
So right when he was getting it, right when he was released.
Yeah, it was a little after he came out. And it's been longer than 27 years since I saw him. So,
yeah,
you know, we got to give him some respect too. We got to give him some respect too. He wasn't just some dude who was in prison because he stole some chapati or something like that. He was in jail because
Hey, okay. I see what type of time we on today.
Nah, they didn't catch him with a pocket full of chapati. They saw this guy as the enemy of the state. So you could only and they was in control. You could only imagine what they did to him inside there. So I respect and I really do like Winnie Mandela, but to be real, when that comparison is made, oh, Winnie greater, I could get it, but she didn't do that time, dog. She didn't do that 27 years. You know?
So
Jack
the
and
answer, yeah, so well, before I answer the question on like the 27 years part, you know, could I stand 10 toes? You know, one of the conditions of his release, people should know this, is that they had to, Nelson's party, the ANC, had to incorporate or still keep a number of seats for the Afrikaner Party. I don't know what party it was at the time, but now it's, I think the Democratic Alliance is the name of the Afrikaner Party, the non-South Africans, the Eurasians. So that should just tell you guys a lot. Like, hey, we're only going to release you, and you're likely to become the president. But not only don't expel us from this land, but hey, keep more than a few political seats in the parliament just for us, or else, you know, you already saw what happened to Kennedy. Imagine that's America, where they have cameras everywhere. What do you think can happen here in South Africa, where, you know, we don't, at this time of the 90s, the early 90s, we don't really have cameras anywhere. Like we could really look what we did to Steve Biko. So that's a lot. Another thing, you know, about standing 10 toes down 27 years. I have a relative that was just released 2 years ago from a 5-year bid in prison. That guy was the most, if the word is extroverted, right? Somebody that likes being social, that likes to be around people. That person was the most social, most extroverted person I knew. Since then, that guy does not like crowds. Since his 5-year bid, we took him to an outdoor mall. He couldn't even be at an outdoor mall. Like that was even too much. He said that his anxiety was overflowing. His social battery ran out in just a half hour of being at an outdoor mall. So no, could I handle doing a 27-year bid? No. I know this guy's controversial. I know there's a lot of labels on him, but Charleston White has said it best. For all these street guys, the gangsters, I think on the pro-black perspective, they're labeled as the black assassins, right? The gangsters, the drug dealers in our own neighborhoods. He says, give each of these guys just 10-year prison sentences and watch how they come out. They will come out completely transformed. I'm not totally on board with that, but I will say that says a lot about what prison, whether it's solitary confinement or just being around men, aggressive men 24/7. Yeah. I can only imagine what that is. Just even doing a 6-month bid in prison will do to somebody. So 27 years. But I will say this: prison sentences with presidents and them coming out and still standing 10 toes down is not new. Kwame Nkrumah, for those that don't know, he became president while doing a prison sentence. His lawyers, one of the best defense teams of all time, I would count that down. They found a loophole in the Ghanaian, well, at that time it wasn't called Ghana yet, but in the Gold Coast Constitution, saying that, well, he served under the number of years that you guys will disallow somebody to even be eligible to run for president. So let's go ahead and run this election. And he ended up winning, and they had to release him right away. But yeah, Kwame Nkrumah still stood on business, so much so that I think he was assassinated, if I'm correct. Right? He didn't get along with the getting along, and he was assassinated. I'm trying to think of another person that served a prison sentence. Oh, the guy who just got fired, Senegal's prime minister, the president, Mr. Faye, fired his friend, and they both were serving prison sentences prior to them becoming heads of the country, but still standing on business, so much so that he just got fired. So it's not new, but again, 27 years. Oh, okay. Trigger Happy says, yeah, not assassinated, but ousted. Yeah, he was overthrown. That's how much he wasn't getting along with the getting along, Kwame Nkrumah, after serving a 1.5-year prison sentence. So, yeah. But yeah, would I be 10 toes down after 27 years? Likely not. Probably not. But would I just convert to the other side? No. But also, it's like, what's the other option? Just to go back to prison? Yeesh. Again, being a president of any country is tough. Being a president or prime minister of an African country, I'd say is on a different level.
Appreciate that, Jack. Who was it? It was Provide Triggers, I think. Ask this question because it's a great question. How do you explain Mumia Abu Jamal's revolutionary stance, despite his longevity, being incarcerated? But that's such a good question. Mumia was not or is not, because he's still alive. He is not an enemy of the whole country. Like Mandela had the whole power set in that country saw him as the biggest threat. And Mumia respectfully didn't, he wasn't seen as the biggest threat. So his treatment was probably different, if I had to guess. Mumia was allowed to broadcast and all kind of stuff like that at one time. His treatment was different. This guy was the number one enemy, and they couldn't kill him outright. But you can imagine they damaged him inside there. I saw another comment I wanted to point out. Some of you are saying you couldn't do it, and I respect that. Lero is here saying peace, loved ones. Shout out to Sister Lero. lot of sort of says Mandela probably had a level of respect. Yeah, he probably did, but I feel like I remember they had him mostly in solitary confinement. You know, Daily Affirmation says, and prisons abroad are hellholes compared to prisons in the U.S. Trigger says, so when I say Winnie better, it's under the idea that she also had a long enduring fight. Yeah, she had a fight too, sure. This guy was in I'm pretty sure he was in solitary confinement for 27 years. It's a wonder this guy wasn't crazy. You know, so, you know, culture education is here. Sam Abibi Fahudi, good to see you as well. Haven't seen you in a little minute. Haven't even seen you on Twitter in a minute. Hope all is well. Jack, has any last thoughts on this prompt here?
Yeah, I think Daily Affirmation says prisons abroad are hellholes compared to prison in the U.S. Prisons in Africa, yeah, for sure. But I think we've all, if not most of us, have become aware of prisons in Scandinavian countries like Norway and Sweden. They took a tour of A$AP Rocky's cell, if you can even call it a cell. It was like a college dorm room when he was locked up in, I don't remember which Scandinavian country, but it's pretty much a dorm. You know, you have again, in Africa, for sure. In South America, for sure. In the Caribbean, I can only imagine the type of hellhole that prisons are. Look at Vibes Cartel, 13 years. And bro, this guy has to have lupus. You know, bro, he's a completely different guy. You know, the only way that we can tell it's Vibes is his voice, his mannerisms, but you know, that's a completely different guy. He said in one interview, Vibes Cartel has said, when asked, I think it was on Drink Champs, the podcast with Nori, it was like, hey, what are some things that you still do now that you're released that have you snapping back into reality that you're no longer in prison? And he said, my wife comes into the bedroom sometimes, and I put away the cell phone as if she's a guard. Again, he lives in Miami, a mansion at that in Miami. And he says when his wife walks into the room, the bedroom, he puts away his cell phone thinking that he's still under watch. That's 13 years, guys. And then another just to affirm what Daily Affirmation says about prisons being hellhole outside the United States. Maguna, Kenyan politician, he was only locked up for, you know what, I don't know, at least some days. And he said that one of those jails, not even a prison, one of those jails that he was in, they would throw in boa constrictors into his cell. Again, just the guards just throwing in a boa constrictor and saying, hey, deal with that for the next couple of hours. Man.
Let's welcome in our brother, Black Steel. Black Steel, how are you this week?
Everything is everything, brother. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming through. Did you happen to see this prompt, this video?
No, I did not. I'm just getting in.
Okay.
So if you want to skip it and go on to the next prompt, I'm down with that. Or if you want to wait a little while.
Yeah, I could go. I could go to the next prompt. A lot of sort of says, I seen one prison in Africa had no roof. It was a circle of stone wall and had no room to lay down. They had to deal with the elements and the mosquitoes. Wow, that's interesting. Shout out to Anthony McPhail in the chat saying Amani Nibaraka. Provide Triggers says that Mandela's 27 years were not totally at Robben Island. Okay. Before he was released in 1993, he had a period of transition for several years in a private residence while negotiations were being held with the white minority government. Okay. I mean, he still was in jail for 27 years. You know, when he was great in that time, but when he didn't have the pressure, she didn't have the exact pressures he had placed on him. So you could say Winnie greater, but you will be you'd have to say that while ignoring the fact when he had her freedom to do what. In fact, I won't even get into some of the stuff I heard, but yeah, when he had her freedom. Let's go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 2. Shoot the Breeze topic number 2 says, have FBA finally gotten exposed? Okay. That takes us to Twitter. Hold on a second. Browser disconnects. Once again, my apologies. Let's do this again. Scion. Okay. I think we should be back. All right, so this is from Scion, Pan-Afro Core. It says, remember when the FBA group was on this platform telling us that we, Caribbeans and Africans across the world, are cowards who would let white people disrespect us in our faces and walk all over us, and that the Black Americans would never let that shit fly? Well, now we have on record, thanks to Chud the Builder, that not only do Black Americans let white people disrespect them to their faces too, but some even find him funny, support, and cheer him on. The whole world got to see how weak some Black Americans are, something FBA boys and girls told us was impossible. Don't get me wrong. Every Tanegerian ethnic group across the world has its weakest links, but FBA made it seem like they were, as they put it, quote unquote unquote. I demand an explanation from the FBA cult as to why Chud has not been checked yet for his disrespect and dehumanization of Black Americans over the past month. This comes with a video. We'll check it out.
You a nigga. What do I got?
1998 Wrangler wearing jeans wearing that.
1888. Back when we still called you niggers. Back in the day when we put the whip on y'all.
That's so funny, man.
You like the fit? Go like that.
Look at
the ass nose you got. What the hell? This nigga done ripped his whole face off.
You do this shit for clout.
You doing the Michael Jackson?
You doing shit for clout.
I know this nigga ain't talking.
You do this for clout. You do it for clout.
Get nose.
You for clout. You lame.
Chimping out, nigga.
Lame ass nigga. Hey, everybody clown.
Ooh,
Nigga, lame ass.
Boring ass nigga.
Wait a minute. Boo, go find some friends.
We smoking that chimp pack.
Nigga, that little ass. That's not that. Hey, let's take a picture.
I'm a grown adult.
Oh my God.
Thanks for not chimping out. Yeah, green hair.
Hey, you the one that you was going viral on Kick, man.
We're everywhere.
Yeah, y'all forgive that buffering. I don't know what was happening. My thing was buffering. But Trigger Happy says it's buffering for some reason, but I can hear the audio. It really wasn't that much of a thing. Let me see.
You a nigga.
I don't even got to worry about it. Look at your thing. 1998 Wrangler wearing jeans wearing that.
1888. Back when we still called you niggers. Back in the day when we put the whip on y'all.
That's real funny, man. You are so funny.
You like the fit?
weak.
Go like that.
With this weak ass mustache.
Go like
weak
that.
This weak ass.
Look at that weak ass nose you got. What the hell? This nigga done ripped his whole face off.
You doing this shit for clout?
You're doing the Michael Jackson.
You doing this shit for clout?
I know this nigga ain't talking. His nose.
You doing it for clout. You doing it for clout.
Get his nose. Get his nose.
You doing it for clout and you really lame. And then one day you gonna die.
Chimping out, nigga.
One day you gonna die. One day you gonna die.
This nigga chimping out. Y'all think he makes you look good, bro? Y'all gotta get new friends.
Yeah.
He looks zesty as shit too. He looks zesty as shit. This nigga zesty.
Lame ass nigga. Hey, everybody clown.
Ooh, ah, ah.
Lame ass.
Ooh, ah, ah. You told him a banana.
Hey, you lying.
Look at this nigga.
You lying. You ain't got no friends.
Boring ass nigga.
Wait a minute. Boo, boo, boo. Go find some friends.
We smoking that chimp pack.
Nigga, that little ass blood.
Hey, let's take pictures.
I got you, bro. Hey, thank you for being a grown adult.
Oh my God.
Thanks for not chimping out like your counterparts.
Y'all send them
I fuck with you, even though you got green hair.
Send them back to where you from.
Hey, you're the one that you was going viral on Kick, man.
We're everywhere.
Yeah. Hopefully that was better the second time. I know. I know it paused for a second, but I think you guys get the idea. We talked about Chud last week. I was in the chat, but this whole idea of Chud walking around and not being touched. This time the conversation is a little different because there is a precedence of some bragging rights, if you will, of, well, we don't let that happen. We don't, these white folks don't step to us like that, like how they step to y'all in Africa and in the Caribbean or what have you. But Chud kind of smacks that notion dead in the face. Dead in the face. So how do we feel about that? Have FBA finally gotten exposed? I'm gonna start with Black Steel for this one. Black Steel, would say you.
I mean, nobody really took him seriously, though. I mean, let me just say that, right? Everything I heard about them was something I was forced to hear. I never looked up any information about FBA. They were already coming in with historically dishonest takes about things like that. So to me, it was like they never really were unexposed. They always were known to be a clown show, right? Just some of their takes were just so ahistorical that, I never really took them seriously or anything they had to say with any type of accuracy. I will, like, for example, their claims, oh, we've never fled. Yes, you have. Yes, you have. I mean, what is Liberia? Liberia is literally a colony of Black people who've left Africa, left the America and went to Africa to form a colony. You have places down in like Caribbean and Haiti and Dominican Republic where descendants of African Americans. I mean, the Underground Railroad was where? To Canada, to Mexico. So of course, Black people fled. It was never a situation where Black people just stayed and fought. That's not even historically accurate. And there's nothing. And another thing too, there's no shame in that, right? Sometimes you gotta go around and just do what you gotta do. But I think that most people understood this whole situation with this guy, is that he was eventually going to come across the wrong person, and he did. But I think nobody was really willing to, as an individual, because you see where I was talking about this last week. You see where he is, right? He's in Nashville. He's downtown. People are out trying to have a good time and relaxing. He's not in the hood or any place, gangster or anything like that. Nobody really wants to risk their life confronting somebody like this, because there's always the potential that this could turn into a crash out. This dude could turn around and shoot you, or you get harmed, and you know how the laws and the court likes to play. So, but the whole thing about the FBA, oh, we did this and we never fled and all the other stuff, that was always inaccurate. That was always historically false. So, I mean, as far as them being exposed, they were always exposed. They were never more than a bunch of angry online cultists who I believe are backed by some government agency to try to dismantle or keep Black people at odds with one another. So yeah, I don't think they were ever somebody who was considered to be they were ever a group to be taken seriously. You know, they were very loud online. You don't see them in real life. They're not doing anything, any movement in the community or doing anything positive for the group for African Americans at all, really. Just sit online and yell at foreigners. Just like they've never really said anything about what's happening with the Voting Rights Act. What group of FBA people are coming out speaking about how Black people have basically been gerrymandered into inexistence in the South? And we can't even elect representatives because of political gerrymandering. You don't hear no FBA, whatever the fuck, say anything about that. But they got all the time to yell at people from Latin America or from the continent talking about who created hip hop. Who cares? So yeah, they were never serious. But I mean, this just goes to show that you know, who are these people really? End of the day, a bunch of online trolls causing havoc. They could jump into your comments and say things that are just ahistorical. But at the end of the day, they're really a factor of nothing, contributing nothing of any significance to African people. My thoughts. I'll leave it there. Thanks, Sophie.
Appreciate that, Black Steel. In the chat, Sister Lero says, why attack some random saltine because he goes around rage baiting? He gets touched and the Black man goes to the jailhouse. Who does that serve? And I was thinking of a response to that, and then Trigger kind of took much of my thought. He said, I wouldn't say he is random as he makes content profiting off of this and has many copycats now, knowing they can make content out of it, right? Like, yeah, this guy, because no one stepped to him even seriously, even just step to him. I'm not even saying go and take him out, but just step to him seriously and run him up off the block. Like, now you have people in the same Nashville area doing the same chimping out shit now. You know? Lero says FBA was exposed from jump as repping the flag and national ideals of their open enemy. Never met an FBA in real life yet either. LOL. Let's welcome in a new member of the panel, Billy Bob. Billy Bob, how are you this week?
Well, I'm doing pretty good today. How y'all doing? How y'all fellas doing on here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're great. Howdy.
Howdy. Well, you do know Tucker Carlson gave FBA the real respect that they deserve. I don't think that Chud the Builder just exposed FBA. What I believe is Black Americans just like to sit their ass down and don't want to fight back. White people, hold on, man. I can't look, man. Yeah, they exposed, man. They exposed.
Brother Bakari.
I couldn't even continue, man. I couldn't continue. FBA, Black Steel touched on something that I want to talk about. Black Steel, I know a couple of people that say the FBA, right? You go to talking about the Voting Rights Act. I am telling you, man, it's a cult, and they say the craziest shit. You go to talking about what Trump doing now. Yeah, think about, motherfucker told me, well, think about it in 1992 when the Democrats did it in Georgia. I say, don't the governor? I don't just necessarily know how to. I say, yeah, because Democrats didn't want Black people to vote in 1992 in Georgia. They won't talk about nothing that's happening right now. I had one tell me everything that's going on right now started with Jimmy Carter back in 1978. Literally started with Jimmy Carter. They're a cult. They are unserious, even though they don't know they are. They don't know how to hold a real conversation about today's issues. They don't. They can't say anything about the regime that's in charge. It's like they have been given a signal. Don't talk bad about this regime. So now, have they been exposed? Yep. You know when they were first exposed, though, Koku? Do y'all remember what the dude named from South Carolina that was running for Congress or Senate or something? And say he ran against Clyburn, Marcel Wallace or something like that. Do y'all remember him?
Yeah.
All online saying FBA and he want to fight for reparations. You know why he lost? Because the people that called themselves FBA refused to get out and vote and said, "With no need for voting." I'm like, that's y'all candidate. That is your candidate. That you say you want somebody who's going to speak for reparations. And that's what he say he was fighting on. And y'all still didn't get out and vote, then blame Clyburn. Not that I'm giving Clyburn no pass, don't get it twisted. So they've been exposed on every front. There was something else Black Steel said. He said they always talk about they never flee, but he mentioned them running to Liberia, right? And ain't nothing wrong with that. Don't nobody want to be under this type of pressure all the damn time. If you got a chance to get a win, can go. Who's going to make fun of you for that, right? But Black Steel, they all went to. Well, we also had ancestors leave and go to Sierra Leone. You know what I'm saying? So they just talk. Everything about them is alternative facts. They brag on the flag. I don't know the black woman name who they say created the United States flag is really the FBA flag. I don't know if y'all ever heard that one. And we can't remember the woman name, but we just know she was FBA that created the flag for this country. They don't know the name, so I don't remember the name either. But it's just crazy. It's Looney Tune. And they're Looney Tune characters. I give the mic.
Appreciate that, Billy Bob. With that said, man, Jack Adair, you've heard everything everyone else had to say. What say you?
Yeah, has FBA finally gotten exposed? They've been exposed. This Chud the Destroyer situation just, at least for 2026, just let everybody know that we are all we got. This should just show everybody that Black people globally, we are all we got. Whether or not Chud the Destroyer was inside Black neighborhoods or in downtown big cities, it doesn't matter. Like, how can this happen? How can local South Africans go to other Black immigrants and tell them, hey, you have a deadline to leave the country? How can we as a people, have they gotten exposed? They've been exposed. Let's just say that they've been exposed. I can go through history and just present evidence of, hey, nobody's riding with you guys. Nobody's riding with you guys. You guys wanted so bad during the election of Biden and Trump for people to vote the other way just because Kamala, the presidential candidate, was running and she's not quote unquote FBA because she has a Jamaican father. It didn't go that way. Black Americans entirely, overwhelmingly voted the Biden ticket. So this is nonsense. And I don't know if it was Black Steel or Billy Bob. I don't know if we should call you Billy Bob or Brother. We'll call you Billy Bob. But nobody's taking them serious. Nobody's taking them serious. Nobody, and nobody should. Nobody should. This is. I think I said it to my South Sudanese friend. I said, it won't surprise me if we have a Proud Boys chapter that is just Black Americans, because that's how much that some of us have bought into this whole, well, we are foundational to this country and we're proud just like they're proud. So why can't we have a chapter? and they'll be begging for it. Stupid shit like that. We are all we got. If you don't ever want to get caught up with the FBA nonsense, and I get it. Let me say this also, as the proud son of Kenyan parents and a Kenyan immigrant that has been living in the United States for over 30 years. FBA have every right to say we are a different ethnic group of Black peoples. Okay, I understand that. 400 years in another land, I get that. You do have your own customs, you do have your own culture, you do have your own vernacular. Great. But saying that you're somehow, some way, oh, we stand on business when it comes to racism, when it comes to systemic racism, no, you don't. No, you don't. You have issues just like the rest of us and anywhere else in the world have issues. But we got. It's Pan-Africanism or bust. That's it.
Appreciate that. In the chat, Sister Laro says, folks legitimize FBA by taking their talking points serious. Even in Big 2026, folks debating the position of the powerless LMAO get serious. She goes on to say Liberia doesn't get enough nuance for her, but that's another topic, LOL. Billy Affirmation says Billy Bob, LOL. And Sister Laro here says FBA don't even have power in their locales. And quote-unquote Pan-Africanists spend time debating their rhetoric is weird. The same group that denies their own ethnic group for looking too quote-unquote African. I'm taking from the conversation as it was framed in this tweet and whatnot that I'm playing a little bit of devil's advocate here for the FBA. That if Chud was in an African country or Caribbean country that's predominantly Black, I get that their understanding is that if Chud had done that in an African nation, he should be dealt with because it's an African nation with African laws and etc. African power, if you will, versus them being in the U.S. not having that power, right? Power of the law, power of the courts, etc. So to do something to this white guy is to just kind of throw your life away and go to jail, blah, 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 right? Blah, 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 but not to blah, 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 right? So I'll throw this to the panel and anyone could answer it. Like, does that really make sense to you guys? Does it make sense to say, well, go ahead, Black Steel?
Not really, man. Because remember just a couple weeks ago, talking about that one white dude who was going around Africa and fucking all them women. So they didn't do anything about that. So who's to say that they're going to do anything about a Chud type character? That's how I would think about it is. But I will say this: as African Black people globally have to come to have some very unpleasant truths we have to confront. And number one, the truth is that we are, for all intents and purposes, a powerless people, right? Even within our home countries, we lack power because we lack organization and unity. And I feel that the direction that many of our leaders are on, many of our people are on, is going to lead us to be even more powerless and disenfranchised in the future. Especially with the, again, FBA group, they're trying to tie their fortunes to the U.S. empire, who is openly racist, who is openly genocidal, who is openly omnicidal. There can be no future for Black people who tie themselves to the empire. Especially the empire that works hard to erode your rights and your citizenship and everything. It's crazy because you think about it. There's people still alive today who saw the Voting Rights Act passed and they're alive to see it fall. Right. So what is it exactly? What are you connecting yourself to? You want to fly this ugly ass flag as if it means something, as if the black people who fought and died for this country didn't come back and were lynched in their uniforms, who were denied the same rights as servicemen as the white soldiers who fought. So could this happen in Africa or in the Caribbean? Again, white men go over to Africa and sleep with all the women over there, and there's no large outcry until it hits social media. Women leaving their husbands to sleep with a white dude. A Chinese man goes over there and has kids with all the women over there and then leave the kids behind. But yet black men get seen as the face of being deadbeat dads. It's crazy. It's crazy. So no, I don't think that it would have gone any differently. He might not use the N-word, but look what's going on in South Africa right now. All the smoke they got for their fellow Africans, but these white people in Cape Town and Johannesburg can do what they want to, and they make up 80% of the population. So I'll leave it there. Thank you.
I agree with Black Steel. It wouldn't have gone any different. It would have been just like here. Let's say hypothetically the guy was in Nigeria. I could hear people saying instead of he wasn't in Chicago or Memphis, well, he wasn't in Lagos. He was in the wrong. He wasn't in this section of Lagos. He didn't go to this part of Lagos. It probably would have been the same thing, man. White people, Arabs, have done a number on black people. And in that number, I mean, and they have black people, the most docile people, and we're the only people in the world who would say, like, I don't wish death on nobody. The same people that are trying to kill you, but we shouldn't wish death on them. I wish death on motherfuckers MAGA every day. But we shouldn't, because that's ungodly. Their races don't let their racism bother you. Like, I'm gonna give you an example, right? So when I'm saying it wouldn't have happened there, we would have been saying the same thing. I could see somebody, it was this guy, this young man, my homeboy sent me this video, went to Ole Miss to play quarterback. And, his daddy, a bald-headed black guy, said, man, I taught my son, if you go there and they call you the N-word, you don't talk back, you don't say nothing to them. If they want to be racist and bigot toward you, you can just tell me to get it off your chest. But don't worry about people that want to act like that. I could see the same thing happening in Africa. I could. I don't think nothing. Why they're saying, well, you living by African. See, and here's the thing. They want to say this is their country and they created this and they created that and they're foundational to this land. But then when it comes to black people in other places, you want to put a different rule on them. Well, since they're living by black laws and it's a black country, they should do this. But if you're foundational to this land and this is your country and you're all patriotic, you should be able to do the same thing here. That's just my take. I get the mic.
Yeah, man, and spot on, Billy Bob. That's spot on. Yeah, if it's your country and you're foundational to it, huh? Why are you allowing these things? Yeah, it's a conundrum. But yeah, if Chud the Destroyer was in an African country, it depends on the African country. In Kenya, there was a video that had surfaced where there was a pilot. Give me a moment. There was a pilot, a helicopter pilot, some white guy. I don't know. Who cares? Some parasite. And when he got off of the plane with another woman, a Kenyan woman pilot, he like open hand slapped her. And it was in front of crowds of people, just because usually when helicopters land, especially in like smaller communities, it's a spectacle because it's like, why is a helicopter landing? But he open hand slapped her and nothing was done. Security went and took him away, but nobody went and lynched him like the way that they should do. I'm with Billy Bob. Man, I pray on the death of my enemy every single day. Every single day. Every day. Every single day. Nothing was done to him. Now, again, back to my statement about it depends on which African country. In Somalia, you might want to think twice. I don't know if you guys can remember the evidence of Black Hawk Down. You know, after they shot down not one, not two, but three Apache helicopters from the United States, those Somalis dragged American bodies through the street for celebration. Woo! Them Somalis is always standing on business. In South Sudan, would he be able to do that? I don't think so. No way. No way. I once watched a South Sudanese here in the United States. I just happened to just come out of the bar, and he was surrounded by like 6 white guys. And he was openly telling those 6 white guys, just know that whoever the first is to put hands on me, I'm taking him down, and the way that he's going to be messed up, even if I lose this, you guys are going to reconsider each and every time that you guys come across a black person. You know, they didn't know that I was behind them, but nothing escalated. But in South Sudan, would Chud the Destroyer be able? No. Let me think of another country. Burkina Faso? Nope. Mali? Nope. Niger? Nope. But yeah, in South Africa, I don't know. It depends. It depends, man. I really say it depends just because I know that as much as we see xenophobia or Afrophobia against black immigrants, we do know that there are stand-up South Africans like the EFF, Julius Malema's political party. They are not with that bullshit. Nigeria, yeah, probably. Probably he'd be able to go ahead and do that. Everybody kind of already knows, and it's assumed that, yeah, Nigerians, especially as long as you have money, man, you can do whatever you want in Nigeria. But yeah, it depends on which African country. And then the Caribbean countries. In Haiti, no, absolutely not. Jamaica, I don't think so either. But that's just my take.
Appreciate that, Jackadero. Let's welcome in our brother, Real Black Gentleman. RBG, how are you this week?
Hey, what's up, Koku? I'm doing pretty good. Before I say something, I bought Bakari's book, his father's book. I don't know if he's here. I just want to let you know. I just got it in the mail. I just flipped through a couple pages. Yeah, this is gonna be a good read. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad. I'm just gonna give a shout out to him for pointing that out. As far as the topic, I don't know. I think it. How do I say it? I've said it before. The whole geography thing. It's significant, but at the same time, like I don't agree with how do I say it? The fundamental premise of black people in this country, at least in this country, trying to, at least instead of like kind of defraying, just putting some rejuvenation into it. I don't say I'm an FBA before I'm African. I know that I'm African. Like that's like, it's intuitive, right? Just, 400 years isn't anything compared to tens of thousands. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I get that. But cultures come and cultures go. And when you have a culture that's isolated, I mean, even amongst America compared to the islands or South America, there's distinctions there. When the argument, I'm going to say something about the premise of this question. Now, what Chud the Builder did was in an isolated location, right? He didn't go everywhere and do that. He did that where he knew he could get away with it. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't put so much emphasis on it proves that, let white people disrespect them in trying to make an argument against, what I'm trying to say is black people in this country trying to just making a move to try to just come together. I don't think it's separation really, because the ocean already separates us. You know what I'm saying? I think that when people say FBA is trying to separate themselves from Africans, personally, I think that, again, it's not it's not our fault that we just can't relatively easily move over there. You know what I'm saying? This whole geography thing is overlooked, in my opinion. Now, I try to ride the fence. You know, people can say whatever they want, because I think that you do have to have Black people should try to rejuvenate their identities as much as possible. Because we have to shake off what these white folks have thrown on us. I mean, yeah, as much as I know that, you know, there are people out here talking it, I know that it like I said, there's some bots and there's agents who over extreme some of the positions to make, I mean, online at least, because you just see the text. And I know that they're not people, or if they are people, they're not Black people. They're just sock puppets, or just, you know, provocateurs, you know, in blackface, effectively. I do think that, like I say, that's all I'm saying. I don't make it a major. I don't say that FBA is above Africa or nothing like that, or Black people. However, on the African side, like when you have an AES popping off, strong political unity, and you have 80,000 Black heads of states, you know, flapping their mouths and going in 40, 50 different directions, it's not a good look. I want to see African nations confederize. I want to see 10 Black political units on African soil, not 40, not these little nation states that are just seceded and, you know, from what the white man done, you know, kind of just like the flag independence, you know what I'm saying? Like, African people have to get their heads together. You gotta have 3 leaders. Someone's going to have to be the leader, and the other 2 is going to have to play lieutenant. It's just that simple. And egos are going to have to, you know what I'm saying, you know, kind of just mellow out and a lot of that. But we can't have this where a white man can go to Ghana, like how the white folks went to Ghana right before the attack on the AES. That was the whole like trigger. The EU is going to go to Ghana, and then all of a sudden you have all this chaos, and the Ghana talking about, oh, we need security. They play both sides in real time. The problem is when you have 40 different faces of Africanism, of African power relative to African nationality, political angles, you can play against each other. You can pivot and focus and redirect attention. If you can't redirect attention between Mali, even though let's say Mali is a province of the AES, and you know what I'm saying, Burkina as a yeah, you see what I'm saying? It's like you're not gonna like when they mess with Mali, you know what I'm saying, brother 1 and brother 2 came right back to the defense, just like an alliance is supposed to. You attack one, you attack all. If South Africa, if they had the wherewithal today to talk to the heads of the countries surrounding them, that would be Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, and Mozambique. A lot of these countries that in South Africa they have grist with. We can't. I don't think that Black people are going to win at this political nation state geography status quo. Period. We must unify immediately. We must get heads together, swallow egos, let there be a leader, and everyone else just play lieutenant or do like they do in the AES and rotate that shit out. Because this is as an American, I see it, and it's just like I see the power plays, and it's just like no. It's 2 fractures. There is no one Africa. It's an African like a piece of glass that's been shattered, and Lord knows you can seal it back together, but it's like we can't do it. It can't be done the way it's being done now. It's just simply not enough. In the AES, you need 10 AESs, I mean, I do believe that there has to be a radical realignment. You have to have new ideas. You have to have people re-identify themselves. I mean, hell, like I say, don't miss me, because you might see this text on these comments and say, "Oh, Black people, bro, you don't know who said that, what said that." Seriously, there are chat bots out here that mimic speech, and I'm gonna say it until I kind of get the echo from my people, because like you gotta like take some things with a grain of salt. Naturally, at least this platform, you know what I'm saying, you don't know who's who. I know what these white folks are doing. I see so much of it. And it worries me that Africa is playing again by white folks' rules, in spite of the fact that if we just make it could be fun, it could be actually enjoyable to actually like not be in the same little country and the same. I mean, because like the borders don't change in Africa. I mean, they're kind of like bogus boundaries that, you know, again, a lot of these white folks make. It's just that simple. It has to be so much must change in order for all of this for Black people to work. Because again, Africa is the base. It's the base. I'm not in Africa. I can't do it. I can't do it, but I can see. It just hurts me to be like, man, like, yo, if we really want to be Africa, we do have to do it by a political way. I mean, in truth be told, the economics, you got to have economics too, because you got to be able to buy. There's a lot going on, and if that, when it doesn't get, you know, when it doesn't get back to the people in the States, it means something. Like there's no roads, there's no major highways. We can't just get a whole bunch of people. Like many hands make light work. And we might not have the sophisticated tools, but if we just like have a whole bunch of people doing good techniques, we can get something going. There's that kind of attitude. Can we just feed them? Can we just give them some rice, some good seasoned rice real quick, and just feed them and some good cold water, and just be good about it real quick? I don't know. I don't see the resources. You know, there's real lives with people, but there's things have to be inspired to happen. And people have to understand why it's important that it happened. It's like people didn't build like the pyramids just because they thought, oh, it's just a good idea. They recognized there was more to it. It had to be. I'm saying it because I don't think it was just a tomb. I think it was more than just a tomb. I mean, people built that for a reason because they built 3 of them. It's things like that. It's just like Africa has to shake the whole political just shamble that it's in, and the AES is just they go after when the target's on their back, they go after you. So I mean, no one wants to be like the AES. No, you got to be like the AES. I mean, that's as far as the FBA again. It's just like, yeah, I do think that it's some bullshit. As far as like some of it, and what happens is because of the fact that there is infiltration in it, again, like it's the evolution is adulterated, and that's what I worry about. You're going to see a lot of fake stuff from what is going to be talking about. A lot of these accounts, you might see them, they'll say the same thing. The screen names always have the bullshit like Dash V8Z, you know what I'm saying, or A3ZY. You know, that there's just like it's not a human being. It's like a computer generated. I'm telling you, it's computer generated. Believe me when I tell you that shit. All right, like it's not a human being. And once we realize that as Black people, at least that's one step. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, yo, there's even with the debate with the South Africans, I see a lot of computer generated stuff. And it makes it seem like there's a whole bunch of people. Yeah, get all the immigrants out. Believe me when I tell you that. Okay, there just has to be a little bit more, just a little bit more understanding about what's going on. I can't. I didn't tell any of the AES. Oh, y'all should be the. I mean, it's kind of like the way some Africans don't like the AES. It's kind of like the way some Africans don't like people talking about FBA, even though it's a different circumstance. And I know, like I say, it's not the end all be all. It's just an idea. Like, it's just like, say, wait, stop, Black man. Hey, how long your people been here? Like, just think about this. You know what I'm saying? Let's slow down. Like, you know, it just comes to a sense of just fidelity about what you know what I'm saying? Like, we're here, we recognize Africa, but you know what I'm saying? We do our own thing. When you look at peoples, you know, like I say, there ain't just one African culture. There's a whole bunch. You know what I'm saying? Go to one hood and be different than the next. You just do things different. I get it. I'm not here to sit here and like, you know, play one against the other and pick faults. I just think that people need to unify. If it means, I mean, they're still Black. You know what I'm saying? If you say FBI self-foundational Black, I mean, it's America, you know, but you know, Black people's here for Columbus, so what do it matter? You know what I'm saying? They the Mandinkas came here. Maybe we should call this shit a Mandinka instead of America. That's just me. I'm gonna pass the mic on that.
Good stuff. Good stuff, RBG. RBG said a lot. So if anyone has any final thoughts they want to address towards anything RBG would have said, let's do that now before we move on to Shoot the Breeze topic number 3.
Let me say this right quick to what RBG said. Just real quick. Some things they are bots because when you buy subscribers, you can buy bots. So I agree with that. Some of them are bots, but some of them black people too, but some of them bots.
All right. Good discussion. Good discussion. Let's just, for time's sake, let's move along. But I will say I do like what RBG has been trying to say on this FBA topic now for about two or three times now, is that if you want to be an American African and who has that uniqueness, just like a Jamaican has a certain uniqueness, a Bahamian has, etc. Yeah, that's fine, and I agree with that. You can be that, but then when it starts to become almost racial slurs and it starts to become this exceptionalism, like your DNA somehow is more magical than mine or some shit, more special than I am, that becomes a problem, and we do have to consider, like RBG is saying, sometimes those things, sometimes maybe even oftentimes, who knows, those could be bots, talking a pack of shit online and stuff like that, Let's go to number 3 though. Should read topic number 3 says, let's have a conversation about Kevin Roberts, the architect of Project 2025. This comes with a link. Let me reshare my screen so it doesn't tell me the audio doesn't work. And we'll watch this video that's on YouTube, and then we'll comment.
Do you know that the guy, Kevin Roberts from the Heritage Foundation, studied Black people in college? His master's thesis and his PhD dissertation was on the study of Black people and the enslavement of Black people and how Black people overcame. I saw a video last night, and this morning I got up and I researched it, and sure enough, the lady was right. She said that in the video, right, he studied how Black people was able to use their different methods and means to overcome oppression. And also in that video, she mentioned that one of the ways Black people was able to crawl out of poverty was using the federal government, getting secure jobs and then using that to build wealth and be able to get into the middle class and the upper class and in society. And that is one of the reasons why they're trying to destroy the federal government, because that killed the line of Black people moving up, mobile up. And I was just like, wow. So all of this that is happening is coming back down to one thing: Black people.
Very interesting. Yeah, I had seen that. I had seen that being shared around, how this white guy actually studied Black folks. I mean, literally studied Black folks. Someone came up with some nuanced thing to it, but ultimately he was studying Black folks. And I find that very, very interesting how this stuff is done right in front of our eyes too. It's real interesting how, because we're not paying attention as a people, we're not making it our business to know who these people are, what these people are doing. We don't know what's going on. We really don't know. Like, there's no one to tell us who this guy is. So, for example, like elections will come around, and black folks have a tendency to vote Democrat just straight down the line. They don't know who the judge, who the person is running for local judge, who's running for comptroller, who's running for, public advocate. They who these people are. You could be voting for a guy who's from a town or something like that. Yeah, we got to get more invested. We have to get more invested. We can't stop everything from happening, but we should damn sure be able to know what's coming or what's potentially coming. With that said, man, let me start off with Jackadero. Jackadero, what say you to this?
Man, I wish I had enough to add to this. I have not researched entirely of Project 2025 nor about Kevin Roberts. But yeah, if somebody studied on how Black people became liberated, I was told once that, whatever they have, we should have the same thing. So if they have a plan for us, we should have a plan for them. And that's my 2 cents.
Appreciate that, Jack. Yeah, so let's have from Billy Bob next on this.
One thing I'll say, right? And I've said 100 times, probably gonna say it 100 more times. Black people have been studied more than Jesus. That's why these people know what to do. They know who they can pay. They know how to create all this chaos and confusion amongst us because they have studied us. They have studied us enough where we truly cannot get rid of a tribal mentality. Not just here, but they have studied us everywhere. Even here, we have a tribal mentality. But they have studied us enough to keep enough confusion, and they know how we are going to react. They know, like you just mentioned, Democrats. They know how Black people are going to react if a celebrity come out and speak for Democrats, and they know a lot of Black people going to get on social media. See, only thing they do is give us celebrities. But then on the other hand, those same people would never mention like shit. They just voted in or down. And trust me, I have never watched this show. A reality TV show, celebrity in the lunatic in office. But they know us. They have studied us. We don't study I don't think we study our enemy enough. We study what they have done to us. We don't study their weakness. We don't study times that if we do study it, it's not talked about enough. That's my opinion. I'm speaking, right? The times where we did win battles, times where we were, where we did make them back down, where we did stand our ground. So they have studied us, so that's how they know what's going to happen and what they're doing in order for them to stay in control. They should do it in all honesty. They should do it. But we should also be doing the same thing. Not to talk about how evil they are, because we already know but we need to study their movement so we know what we can do, because they're only human. Right? I know they done bluffed us like they run the whole world, but they're only human. We could study them and do the same thing. They will have their sellouts too. They always have had sellouts, but and that's my take on it.
Yeah, that's exactly my thoughts too, Brother Bakari. In the chat, Trigger Happy says, in some contexts, Black people like to praise Negrophiles when Negrophiles make for great spies. Yo, that is so true what Trigger just said here. We tend to We like the yo 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 type of white boy. Yo yo yo, word to my mother. We like that kind of white boy. But that's the motherfucker who's going back and reporting on you. And let me just say this too, because I came to this realization with my kids the other day. The whole idea of being a spy is not necessarily at all like what they show you that shit to be on TV. A spy can simply just be a person who went down somewhere and afterwards got a phone call. Hey, how'd it go? How many people were there? Just some general shit. And that's a conversation you just went and spied on these people. So I say that to say right now, in the Caribbean, there's a white woman from the UK. Her name is Travel with Zoe. And when I show Speed, so her whole shtick is she goes from island to island. She's primarily around Trinidad, but she goes from island to island, showing you her experiences as like a couch surfer, right? She's one of these kind of folks who just go and stay with a person, right? And she'll show you how she goes down in the ghetto and buy food and interact with folks and no one troubles her and this, that, and the other. So fast forward, I Show Speed comes to the Caribbean a couple weeks ago, and she made some snide remark about what would the conversation be like if Speed was white, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, I bring her up just to say, as simple as what she does, she is probably a spy. And there's black folks, to Trigger Happy's point, who under her videos will be talking her up, talking about, oh, look at my Zoe. Look at my Zoe is one of us now. Just chatting a bunch of shit, not realizing this motherfucker is spying on you. This motherfucker is getting to know you and reporting back. And that's helping keeping you down and you don't even realize it. I know I went off on a bit of a rant there, but it was necessary. Black Steel, what say you?
So what's the saying? Know your enemy as you know yourself, right? And this is what he did. He studied his enemy. I think that black people got to realize that the collective group of white people, of Europeans, don't mean us any good. So I think that when this dude, he studied black people. Yeah, he did. He did. Because he understood something that we don't understand, right? The white man is our enemy. And as a collective, the collective group of whites don't mean black people any good. And if there were, and listen, let me say this too when I say collective, right? I'm talking about the majority, right? Are there some good white people who mean well? Yeah, I'm sure there are. But they don't have enough power to do anything. They don't have enough sway in the community to change anything. So this man talking about Project 2025, right? This is what they talk about. The Project 2025 means the end of what they call the administrative state, right? And the idea of basically a government for the people by the people. They want to limit democracy, and I think they're doing it right. I mean, many of the plans have already been implemented, but they feel that things like the Civil Rights Act, Voting Rights Act, these things were a mistake, right? And they destroyed the American government. They basically required a permanent subclass of human being, which was black people. But they mentioned talking about Project 25, what they call the unitary executive theory. Basically says that the president has the absolute authority over the entire executive branch, right? So it limits the power of Congress. So it pretty much puts the president in the form of a king. And you can see that already taking place in the United States. What they did also about limiting these federal jobs that disproportionately employ a lot of black people. So when they contracted, that was part of the president using his power as the executive. And we can see that the havoc it caused. 300,000 people lost their jobs behind this. But yeah, the idea of our enemies studying us, studying our movements, I think what a lot of times Black people seem to forget is that we have sporadic resistance, right? We get mad about something. We march in the street. If it gets really bad, we'll burn down some buildings. Somebody might go to jail. Okay, then we calm down again. Then something else happens. Something else happens. Something else happens, right? But our resistance is never continual. So we have sporadic resistance in the face of continual oppression. Our resistance needs to be as continual as our oppression, right? So when we talk about spies, right? Spies to who? What organized Pan-African or African government is in a position to use information and use it for warfare? It doesn't exist. So you would have spies reporting to nobody. Like, we don't have the unity or the organization to even really affect any harm towards the people who are enemies. And this is kind of the issue, that when we fight for what we want, many times we accomplish it. But the problem is we fight and then we back down. We fight, we back down. There's not a sustained resistance. And I think that's the issue that we have. So this Project 25, we've been talking about this for years, right? The fact that this dude studied us is nothing new. You're supposed to study your enemy. We don't study our enemies. We don't. Many of us don't even accept that we all have enemies. I think that we don't even realize that we're at war, right? If somebody says we don't want to start a race war, I've heard somebody online say that. We've been in a race war for the past 400 years. We're just the only ones who don't know it yet. But I don't feel as though, there's enough African people who are at odds or even see the West, United States, as their enemy, right? Many times we're jockeying for position and what we can get, what we can benefit, or we can get in certain positions that benefit us, right? We don't really want to end the oppression. We just want it to be maybe not on our necks as much. But that's another talk about revolution and things like that. So I'll go ahead and I'll stop there. Thank you.
Yeah, good stuff, Black Steel. This is why I think these conversations are important, because you get to kind of reiterate and kind of resubscribe to the real point of all of it. Is you better know who your enemy is, and you better know that your enemy is studying you, observing you, watching you, and you're supposed to be doing the same towards them. And I think it's good when we have a chance to kind of reiterate that fundamental idea as often as we can to as many of our people as we can. A lot of people might be a little bit less idle when it comes to Black folks, pushing for power. A lot of Black people might be a little less idle if they came to the realization, oh, damn, these people are really studying us like that, and I don't know nothing about them. I've said it before in the show. I go up here into Manhattan sometimes, and I look at these big buildings, man, and I'm saying to myself, we don't know what they do in these buildings. What are they doing on the fucking 101st floor of that building? We have no idea what they're cooking up for us inside these places. We got to get on the ball about that. By the way, the white guy married to the Black woman who's attending the pro-Black function, the pro-Black organization weekly meeting, that white guy is a spy too. He's a spy too. Don't worry. He's talking to someone. He might not be the person directly reporting, but he's talking to someone who's reporting. He's a spy too, just so you know. With that said, RBG, Real Black Gentleman, what say you?
Well, about John Roberts, it just goes back to, just being able to study studying us and knowing who's in the room and knowing who, you know what I'm saying, just the way that as much as we don't know, the inverse of what we don't know about them, it's like they're in tightly controlled rooms. Like we aren't in tightly controlled rooms, and I mean, and even when we are, like we really, you know, checking for bugs. You know what I'm saying? It's like, can we just like, are we having conversations? Are we having these phones with us? The phones is they don't, the means of espionage nowadays has completely changed. But let me just go back to John Roberts. I guess someone I read whatnot. He studied like the Black Studies, or he took some classes or whatnot. You know, and tried, you know, just to do some reading and whatnot. He probably could have did that shit on the internet, but I mean, he actually wanted to go to the class and actually, you know what I'm saying, go through it. Okay, so he learned some stuff. So he kind of he's trying to, like, a lot of this doesn't have to do with the actual plan. A lot of it had to do with how to go about. It was just like information how to go about getting in with Black people. Like you said, just getting who's in these classes, what are they, why are they in, you know what I'm saying? But again, the academy isn't the place for Black people to try to like gatekeep anyways, because it's like, you know, that's a different. But the what I'm saying is like, Kevin Roberts. I mean, when you have people like this, all you can do is know that he wrote some stuff down, and okay, what's the plan? Knowing how to, a lot of this has to do with, you know, getting to the people that he's trying to talk to and convince them otherwise, which this goes into something that I don't think a lot of Black people like to talk about, but that's getting in white folks' faces tactfully and persuading them to do what we want them to do. Easier said than done, but if we the gods of this shit, you know, we can put some bass in our voice, and with subtlety and with planning and, you know, with strategy, we can convince them just to, like, you don't want to do what this white boy talking about. You don't do that fuckboy shit, and kind of browbeat them in a tactful way publicly, in a way to kind of like get them to like, man, like, yeah, like you gotta like the way of the art of public communication. We have to be able to take a message and just override it and just like break it down and then reset it if need be and just play with it like some Legos. We have to lampoon and ridicule and reduce their attempts at what they want to do, because all of it's slow motion. You know what I'm saying? It's all of it's slow motion. You try to get some infrastructure built. You got to convince people to do things and change rules. And I know. You know, Black people can, you know, defend, you know, make sure that we not getting, you know, infiltrated on the homeland. And, you know, if you out there and, you know, if you happen to be in the kind of area, you know, get a feel for what it is and people strike a conversation. Look, I'm in an area where it's quite a bit of white people. If I, you know what I'm saying? If I can't, I can. They talk, and it's like I go, What do you think about this? You can kind of play like dumb smart, man. You just gotta, you know. That's all I can say. I mean, I don't let things like Project 2025. I mean, it's 2026, so I mean, that project is over. So, I mean, I understand. Well, the ramification, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's policy, and policies can be put up and they can be put down. I'm not really worried about that. You can change sentiments. I mean, it's not easy. I mean, Black people from Georgia going all the way to Idaho. You know, hey, I mean, if you got the flex like that, you think you can look. If you think you can change these white folks' minds, do it. I mean, all this soul and spirit. Look, hey, if you can get in their head and make them do otherwise, or for whatever reasons, use your power, use your mind, be a mastermind of this shit. I'm going to say it. I'm not worried about these white people like that. I am not. Look. I don't want to like spell out everything because I don't need to do that, because I know how Black people are. You know, we take losses, but we get more wins than losses. sometimes the losses get looked at as like, damn, we got, you know what I'm saying? But again, the nature of them is, you know what I'm saying, the sneak attack and kind of like, you know, they just don't want us to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? They want us to be quiet and not point stuff out, and you know what I'm saying? They want us to shake in our boots, and I'm not with that. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Just recognize what you got. You know, don't crash out. Don't act a fool. There's a lot of it is just, you know, subtlety. You know what I'm saying? Understand your position. You outnumbered, outmanned. You know, try not to put yourself in a precarious situation. But again, like talk to them. Play dumb smart. See how they do. See, you know what I'm saying? Call some stuff out and say that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Don't that's stupid. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Let it go. You don't have, I mean, as an individual, and if you can, like, I really wish we had, you know what I'm saying, we need Black intelligence services, man. If they are, don't Lord knows there could be, but Lord, I don't want to say nothing, you know, this shit could be very decentralized. You know what I'm saying? We'll have the decentralized intelligence agency, bro. Like, I'm telling you, like, don't let them fool you, man. Like I say, Black people are like an interferometer. We're like scattered out in a large array, and use like parallax to compare signals as they reach the different signals in different spaces, like light or energy like that. You know, I understand this stuff. Like, so I'm not too worried. We hear stuff from all over the world, and we hear it and respond. You know what I'm saying? Some of us, you know, it is what it is. Like, at this point, like, they haven't nuked all of Africa yet. They haven't put the plague out yet, because, you know, we're all human. You know, it'll kill us and then it evolves and then kills them. That's funny how life works, right? I'm gonna pass the mic.
Good stuff there, RBG. Last but not least, Shooter Breeze topic number 3. Let's have a conversation about Kevin Roberts, the architect of Project 2025. Jack Adair, I think you're the last person to go, right?
I think I was the first one to go.
Oh, my bad. All right, so I think I got everyone on that. Does anyone have any follow-up thoughts on anything you heard said during that conversation?
Yes, about something you said when you said something about the black lady with Speed, who's probably a spy, right? So if we ever organize, I'm telling y'all now, I'm dealing with a group now, and I tell them, look, man, you come in here. No, man, you got to take your batteries out your phone. Your battery can't come out your phone. You got to get your phone up. And it's this guy, he was a rapper in New Orleans. He had something to do with the song Know You Clap. Let me see, Know You Clap. Well, anyway, he in the community, couple restaurants, but he do a lot of work with the youth, right? Somebody was talking to him. And in the process of talking to him, they recording it. And the guy was like, said something about attacking government buildings, but just in a conversation. And the guy was like, what? You know, and he repeated himself. Shit. Hour later, conversation all over Instagram, man. An hour later. Fortunately, the brother was able to get out of jail after like a couple of weeks, and he back in the community, and I see people greeting him. But I said that when Black Steel said something about somebody being a spy, man, we have to be careful. Everybody can't, and just in all honesty, everybody can't be allowed to bring a cell or shit like that happens. You see what I'm saying? You want me to say this and you recording it, and now you go put it out on social media talking about something to do with maybe allegedly he's saying something about attacking government buildings. And yeah, I mean, that's what I wanted to say. That's it.
Yeah, appreciate that, brother Bakari. You know what? Let's go to Shooter Breeze topic number 4. Shooter Breeze topic number 4 says Rastas being a crucial element to the revolution of Grenada. Let me say that again. Shooter Breeze topic number 4. Rastas being a crucial element to the revolution of Grenada. This comes with a link that takes us to X. Of course, doesn't work the first time out. Let's do it again. It's going to take us to X, to Mythical Caribbean. Tweet from Mythical Caribbean that says Rastafarian revolutionaries speak about the CIA's role in destabilizing the Grenadian Revolution in Grenada, 1983. It's a 2-minute video we'll watch and then we'll discuss.
Yeah, you know what station that dread over so by revolution. It's true, I dread Laksa, not your can't me say. Long live Grenada, dread. Revolution. Long live up here. Oh yeah. Not the can't me say, you can say. And I'm long time here, but nothing so happy. Babylon for nothing, relax up with
Now, what we see clearly is that just CIA at work. They know for sure that the plan is and the most frustrated people in the country today. No work for them and this type of thing because of the class consciousness of the people. They still see us as outcasts and not as human beings as they are. So, Torchlight seeing that and CIA is wise enough to see that too. And because of some differences and things that have been going on, they try to use the Rastas in trying to stir up counter-revolutionary actions within our country. So, what we have to do today is to look carefully and see why they are trying to use the Rastafarian. Because the Rastafarian lack the clarity of what exactly is going on and they was not conscious that they were being used by CIA. Because I, man, stand firm to the base of the working class. Because one day that dollar must die. As a soul here, attached to the policy unit, I understand what I'm defending. And
yeah, you know what radio station that dread over so by revolution. It's true, I dread Laksa, not your can't me say. Long live Grenada, dread. Revolution. Long live up here. Oh yeah. Not the can't me say, you can say. Oh yeah. And I'm long time never seen a secret so happy. And I'm long time never seen a secret so gay. Babylon for not secret locks up with your country.
now, what we see clearly is that just CIA at work. They know for sure that the Rastafarian is the police and the most frustrated people in the country today. No work for them and this type of thing because of the class consciousness of the people. They still see us as outcasts and not as human beings as they are. So, Torchlight seeing that and CIA is wise enough to see that too. And because of some differences and things that have been going on, they try to use the Rastas in trying to stir up counter-revolutionary actions within our country. So, what we have to do today is to look carefully and see why they are trying to use the Rastafarian. Because the Rastafarian lack the clarity of what exactly is going on and they was not conscious that they were being used by CIA. Because I, man, stand firm to the mean, the beast of the working class. Because one day that dollar must die. As a soul here, attached to the policy unit, I understand what I'm defending. And
Yeah, that history there. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. That history there is an interesting one because I'm not certain if the CIA used Rastas or if the CIA just put it out there that Rastas were a threat to the PRG, government. But because again, Rastafarianism, especially at that time, still was looked at as like the counterculture type group, kind of like the hippies were, I guess, in the States. And so there was concerns that they could be a problem. But I don't know if the Rastas actually were a problem. In fact, it seems like they might have a part of the revolution. So real quick, there's a couple of photos here of the revolution. Man, very interesting to learn. I'm gonna keep this image here up. It's very interesting. Very interesting to see that, and yeah, very interesting. With that said, man, Billy Bob, let's start with you, man. Rastas being a crucial element to the revolution of Grenada. What say you?
Okay, so when I think Rastas, I just think people from Jamaica. That's what I know about Rasta, right? Okay. So were they Jamaicans? So I would say they went to Grenada to help their they was going to
No. So Rastafarianism is a mostly Judeo-Christian spiritual movement. It's a anti-establishment type of movement. It's not only in Jamaica, it's across the Caribbean, but it's across the world now. But there's groups of Rastafarians in the Bahamas, Jamaica, Grenada, Trinidad, all over. So these were Grenadian Rastas who helped in the revolution.
Okay. Well, they from Grenada, and there was a revolution. They were helping their people. Would I say the CIA? Were they working for the CIA? I wouldn't know, but I could say maybe the CIA was following them and would put something out like that, so you could think bad, of your people. But them being a part of the revolution, I wouldn't. Shit, that's a great thing. We all need to be part of of the revolution. But I do see how when we talk about the things that these people do, I could see them doing something like that to make Rastafarians look bad, so we could continue, so we could think a certain way about the Rastafarians, so we won't trust them if they have that fighting spirit in them. I could see them doing that to Rastafarian. I hear the mic.
Yes, sir. So I think also too, I think this also highlights a couple other things too. It's that I believe a lot of people view Rastafarians as kind of non-violent, just these spiritualists who minding their own business, they in it, kind of like these small hat types. But we see that within Rastafarianism, there is resistance. In fact, there's a book called Rasta and Resistance, but there is resistance amongst Rastafari. And also, this also shows too Rasta ain't only about, because this is a perception, the Rasta is just some fellas on the beach somewhere in Jamaica or something with dreadlocks sleeping with fat white women. There's more to it than that. You know what I mean? There's more to it than that. So, I have my critiques of Rastafarianism, and I speak from personal experience, but overall, the history of Rasta has been about resistance. And even this video, I guess, is showing us that even in Grenada, they were a part of armed resistance. And that's a good thing. Like Brother Bukhari said, they're Grenadian, that's their people. They should stand up. But one of the reasons why the small hats are so disliked, especially in recent history, they be a part of countries, call themselves a certain nationality, but when some shit happens, they pull the way out of it. So it's good to see that the Rastas aren't, hopefully, not being clumped in with groups like that. Black Steel, what say you to it?
So there's a song by Bob Marley called Rat Race, right? In there, he says Rasta don't work for the CIA, right? I don't know if he wasn't referencing this event. Of course, the Grenadian Revolution kicked off after he passed away, but it does show how they were trying to infiltrate the Rastafarian movement in Jamaica, especially when one of the prime ministers at the time leaned a little bit too close to socialism, and they felt that he was getting too close to Cuba or whatnot, to Castro and everything. So there were some elements that tried to infiltrate and try to see if they could pose, a way to almost like a opposition to that. I think that when we talk about how the Rastafarians were treated, how they were seen, they were not seen very favorably by the establishment, especially in Jamaica. They wore their hair naturally. They were proud of Africa. They kept the name Marcus Garvey alive and well. They considered Marcus Garvey a prophet. So I think that a lot of the ideas about Rastafarian is that first and foremost, they were proud to be Black. They were proud to be African. And this in of itself is a revolutionary idea, to be proud to be who you are. Be proud of your skin and your hair and your history and your heritage. Whatever else they may have differed in the past, whatever they may have come to now, we can understand that it was the Rastafarians who really instilled a lot of pride in Africa and their African heritage. And many people felt this was a threat. Walter Rodney, he came from Guyana and he taught in Jamaica. He wrote his book, The Ground is My Brothers, how he would communicate and speak to the Rastafarians. And he was literally barred from returning to Jamaica. So he was kicked out of Jamaica because they figured he was stirring up the young people. So I do think that the Rastafarian ideology, especially being proud to be Black and honoring African heroes, Marcus Garvey and Paul Bogle, and even if you may not agree with everything, but Selassie, Ethiopia being the one of only 2 African nations to resist colonialism by military force. I do think that it shows why the CIA would want to infiltrate a group like the Rastafarians, because they have a great deal of sway, even though there are not a lot of them percentage-wise, but the ability that they have both in music and in culture. And most people don't know the deeper parts of the culture. They just know, oh, I like to smoke weed. I like to smoke weed, and that's really all it boils down to. But there's a deeper ideology, a deeper thought process involved with Rastafarianism that doesn't really get talked about enough. So I can definitely understand how them going to Grenada and, them being proud to be Black. And like you mentioned in the video, having class consciousness. That's something a lot of revolutionaries seem to lack. So he mentioned that in the video. Very good mention. And why did the United States go into Grenada is not just because they were breaking away or whatnot from the Western oligarchy. What really, two things. First of all, the United States got their ass beat in Vietnam. I think that's probably was a way for them to save face. So after America lost in Vietnam, they had to find another country to pick on, right? And I'm pretty sure that Maurice Bishop wasn't, trying to be a communist. He wasn't linking up with Fidel Castro. He really just wanted to nationalize their nutmeg industry and have the benefits of that come to the people of the country. And, it really just shows that was really all that Ronald Reagan needed to invade the country, to make them feel good about themselves after losing to the Vietnamese, and kind of their whole policy of containing any type of communist influence. So the Rastafarians, first of all, again, with their knowledge of being of Africa, being proudly Black, they fit right in that environment, and it's a shame why that happened. No, Ronald Reagan didn't invade Grenada over spice. He invaded, first of all, he invaded Grenada, first of all, to make America feel good about losing in Vietnam. That's what you do. Which that kind of what's happening right now, right? So the United States got their asses beat in Iran. So now they're threatening Cuba, right? So they couldn't win in Iran. So now they're just going to try to pick on somebody else to kind of save face. And two, it was because the people of Grenada had nationalized their spice industry, and they were using the proceeds that weren't benefiting multinational corporations, but rather the people of the island. In their mind, especially during the Cold War, that was too much of a step towards communism. And that's why they had to go and invade Grenada, quote unquote. So that's all I'm saying. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
So Black Steel, what you're saying is the lunatic in office right now, he is being embarrassed. He's going to do what Ronald Reagan did. So they got to find somebody small they can pick on.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. They are going to mess with Cuba because they cannot beat Iran.
Some sucker shit. That's what that is. And I was telling Brother Bakari about this. I was telling Judge Joe Brown, like, yo, man, that's some bullying shit. Because Joe Brown likes to talk about manliness and manhood and all this old shit. And I'm like, yo, that's just bully tactics. What are you fucking with Cuba? Believe in what they believe in, then let them face and fail for their own. But you're putting up sanctions, blockades, invasions, this, that, the other. Like, what the fuck? But that's what they do. And most people, especially white folks, they don't have a problem with that shit. Oh, I couldn't be the big guy? I'll go and pick on these two small guys. Oh, yeah, they like that shit. Real Black gentleman, what say you?
No, I mean, I love it. Man, it's messed up how the powers that be in this world, man. It's what it is. It's stark. It's steep. The resources are the resources. It's good to see. I mean, I wish somehow, some way, like maybe in a more subtle way, there could be a lot more. Because I mean, the Caribbean is. I've said this before. It's like it's good turf if you could get a strong Black presence. I know that I mean, it's there's a lot of peoples there and all that. You know what I'm saying? There's other peoples there. You know what I'm saying? You got Latins in this, but I'm just saying you gotta have it. If you can stretch from the Bahamas to Grenada, oh yeah, that's good turf. That's good turf on a nice little sea power. I really wish the Caribbean could just be like there was a real Caribbean Union, and a lot of the the European fetishes, they could get discarded, and people could just just frankly, I mean, with the African strength, just kind of just like not just not. I mean, it can't be an island is its own country. It's kind of like what I worry about seeing in Africa, where it's like, and you know, a lot of the countries, some of the are still territories of these white folks. It's just, I mean, it's just the time frames of a lot of this stuff. I mean, it's hard. Islands don't have resources. You have to bring resources over to them. You can't build a fleet. You have to have iron. To have iron, you have to have a whole mine, a whole mountain full of iron. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is, it's like, but still, if you could have, look, anything you can do to make connections, maybe you don't need everyone on the boat. If you have one boat with what you need on the boat, you know what I'm saying, with the goods, you know what I'm saying, make that run quick, fast, in a hurry. You know what I'm saying, move it over to your peoples on the other side of the island chain. It's like, I believe in it. I believe in black people have to, like, we have to lump together. We have to find our lumpings, and once I think about it, like y'all remember the scene in the Terminator when the Terminator blew up the T-1000 when he was like with the nitrogen and stuff, and he shattered. That's black people. We're shattered all over in 1,000 pieces. We have to have the wherewithal to know that we're pieces of this stuff, and we can sense that there's another piece of us. And once the stuff thaws out, we just kind of coalesce. You know what I'm saying? And it will be one big blob again. And there'll be fingers and eyes and toes and feet running at 100 miles an hour. You know what I'm saying? Just getting them. That's just how I see things. Like sometimes, like the separation isn't impossible, but you do have to have. The only reason like he came back together because they were in the heat of the forge. You know what I'm saying? Just to keep the analogy going. But like part of it is like once it gets hot. You know what I'm saying? Black people do tend to come together, but we have to build our own heat. It's like going back to what it was said before. It's like sporadicness. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's like we have to have a simmering pot somehow in a culture where it's like we're actively, because with heat you get energy. With energy you have a lot more things blending together. When things are cold, there's not a lot of energy moving around. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Ice versus, you know what I'm saying, lava and all. So like black people have to be lava. We have to constantly be hot. We do have to like, I'm just saying like, you know, we might need to like have a little bit of just toughness about ourselves, just a little bit, but not misdirected in a way. I don't want to see no kind of like, I think we have to get back to a friendly rivalry of like cultures in a sense, but that's not the main event. You know what I'm saying? That's just to keep things frosty. That's just to keep things fresh. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's the innovation going. So we're not doing the same thing for 20, 30 years. You know what I'm saying? You got to mix it up a little bit. But yeah, with this, I'm always with that. I want to see, you know what I'm saying, black people all over the world, especially in the Caribbean. It's in a lot of ways, like even more, because if you have the Caribbean, then you can talk about South America. I mean, this is South America. You know what I'm saying? There's the blackness there has been fucked up. We're not going to lie. Brazil, Argentina. I mean, you still have Colombia. You still have Venezuela. There's some black pockets there, but there's some, you know what I'm saying? There's some racism that you know what I'm saying? That La Raza-isms is always in the Western Hemisphere. So black people got to come together, you know what I'm saying, everywhere, especially in the West. You know what I'm saying? I just think that you got to think bigger. Like this is a good example of, you know, people white beater geopolitics, yo. It is what it is. It's like, because I mean, Cuba's right there. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's Cuba. It's like it's right next to us. You know what I'm saying? Like all things being all things. You know, it's like it's right there. So it's like it's still Cuba. It's not the United States. You know what I'm saying? It's man, this world it's on purpose. All this is not. It's not craziness what's going on in the world. But I'm gonna just leave on that. I just shout out to Grenada. Shout out to the rosters. I'm gonna pass the mic.
Appreciate that. RBG. Did I get to everyone in that one? I think I did, right? All right.
Nope.
Oh, okay. Jacadero. I forgot about Jacadero. Jacadero, what say you to this?
So the question was, what was this prompt question? All right, Rastas being crucial element to the revolution of Grenada. Yeah, absolutely. Especially if they're there, right? You explained perfectly that Rastas aren't only in Jamaica. but they're all over the Caribbean. Not only that, I don't know if it was Billy Bob, but Rastas are in Africa as well. They went and bought land in South Africa during the 70s. Also, of course, Ethiopia. Rastas are there. They have land in Ethiopia and Kenya. They're all over in Kenya. Man, one thing that many people don't know is that besides local Kenyan music, you play reggae, especially roots reggae. Roots reggae in Kenya, in a Kenyan function, man, people go crazy, man. So Rastas are everywhere, and influenced again by the Caribbean. But yeah, if they're there, why not? Why not fight? The question on if they were influenced or being used, I don't know. I don't have too much information to say yes or no on that. But if you're a citizen of that country and you feel it's right, yeah, you go ahead and do it. It affirms it affirms the thought that I used to have about Rastas, is that you never want to mess with a Rasta, especially a Rasta that's over the age of 40. That man will mess you up. I've only seen once in my life a Rasta ever get upset, and I just did not want to be around. You know, these days, whenever you see two people arguing or two tempers flaring, you want to pull out your phone and you want to record it. I genuinely did not want to be around because I was concerned about the entire safety of the entire place that it was happening at. I think I was in a grocery store, if I can remember it. I was a teenager, and I was like, I need to get out of here because this is not gonna go very well. Don't ask me what ended up happening because I literally left. So yeah, if they're getting down and dirty, especially with guns, jeez, why not, man? Big up to Rastas, everything I read, man. Yeah.
Huh. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's a good point too. Rastas are all over the continent, as a matter of fact. Fundamental in their beliefs was repatriation to Africa, which many of them did. More on that later. You know what? I'm going to bring a prompt about that in the future, and to just investigate how it has changed. Someone in the chat was talking about it, how it changed, how the idea about things like repatriation was a big deal at one time, but now it's not as big a deal, and people have certain justifications as to why. So that's something to discuss in the future. If there's no last thoughts on this prompt, man, we can go on to the fifth prompt, which should be the last prompt for the night. But before I go there, I wanted to give you all this announcement that I am not going to be the regular host of Shoot the Breeze starting in the fall. I decided that since I had a willing person to host, that it makes more sense for them to host and for me to do things more so in the chat, more so behind the scenes, trying to increase the engagement, try to get more listeners on the platform, particularly during this Shoot the Breeze segment. And who knows, I might even decide to do a midweek thing. If you guys have ideas of a show that you'd like to see done, I'll consider it. I'll consider doing something during the week. But I think I can serve. I think I could serve the platform better now by trying to drive traffic to it. So that means I will still be around in the chat, of course, and when needed, I can still fill in as the host. But I'd just like to focus on that a little bit more. Maybe focus on different types of conversations during the week, etc. So I hope you guys will be okay with that. As I am going to tell you that Jackadero is going to be the the full-time host starting in the fall. And like I said, I'll be in the chat sometimes on the panel, but I'll be around. All right. So Jacadero, you're the guy now, man. What would you like to tell the people?
Hey, I appreciate it. It's an honor, and just as much as anybody else, I'm grateful. This is not something that I take lightly at all. Khalid Muhammad, I always refer to his line about hold the line. We got to hold the line. And yeah, wherever Koku thinks that he is fit, whatever we can do to make that process a lot easier. So when the opportunity came, I said, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and step up. Another thing in the chat, Culture Education says, yeah, you don't want to mess with some you don't want to mess with in reference to my statements about Rastas not being one to take lightly. Sizzler has been caught with a whole bunch of guns before. Ja Cure is currently serving a prison sentence. Again, the guy who, and I only laugh, not because he's in prison. No, I want free Ja Cure, but he's serving a prison
sentence. Hell no, that nigga's a rapist. Hell no, leave his ass locked up.
But the first time that Ja Cure got sentenced to a prison, it was for I think he stabbed a club promoter, like a club promoter or a music promoter. But nonetheless, Rastas again, Black Steel. I'm well aware on the rape charge, right? I don't ever want any of our Rastas or any Black people to be involved in nonsense like that. But yeah, just don't mess with Rastas. But again, Ja Cure, his first prison sentence was because he stabbed somebody. And that's a guy that just sang a whole bunch of, romantic songs. Like the girl that I'm dating right now, her favorite reggae artist is Ja Cure. And when I told her, oh, he's serving his second prison sentence, she was like, what was his first prison sentence? And I was like, he stabbed somebody. She was in disbelief. But yeah, I'm honored to take the role and the lead, and if I can make Koku and just the Shoot the Breeze family and the Bitter Medicine podcast, just the entirety of all this work a lot better, and I'm so happy to step up. I'm honored to step up, and yes, whatever I can do, I'm on it. So thank you, Koku.
Yeah, no problem, man. No problem. But like I said, I'll be around. I'll just be around in a different way. Let's go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 5. Last one for tonight. Last one. Shoot the Breeze topic number 5. I wish Buono was here for this one. He says, how true is this? This is in reference to the Bahamas, something Bahamian Trey said on Twitter. Let me share my screen. So this is a tweet from Bahamian Trey. Bahamian Trey, for those who don't know, he's a local artist in the Bahamas. I guess he's a young fella, so I guess he has more popularity with younger Bahamians versus, say, a Julian Believe, who's a little older. Julian Believe was the Bahamian guy who was the host for I Show Speed, if you tuned into that kind of thing. But Bahamian Trey is a musician. He says the Bahamas arguably still has sundown towns. And this was in response to a tweet that says Caribbean people usually do not segregate themselves because we are one people. We have all races here. And then he replied, the Bahamas arguably still have sundown towns. Let's see what some comments were. Someone says, one time my boy worked late by one side of Westridge and had to leave late. Dark already fall. While he was walking, the man picked him up. He had to call the boss to pick him up from the station. Right? Someone said in a predominantly black island. Bahamian Trade says the Bahamas consists of hundreds of islands and keys. This prompt comes with two other attachments as well. This one says, this is from Vivian Musk. It says, well, we have white Bahamians, and up until 1967, though, a significant minority, they control the government. Segregation, apartheid, like in the US or South Africa, actually existed in the Bahamas. Blacks were barred from taking part in certain business ventures. They were these white power brokers. Is this the same person? Hold on. Sorry about that. I thought it was a continuation of her tweet. I guess not. Yeah, so just to read that again. Well, we have white Bahamians, and up until 1967, though a significant minority, they control the government. Segregation / apartheid, like in the US or South Africa, actually existed in the Bahamas. Blacks were barred from taking part in certain business ventures. And then there's one more tweet. This is from Kia. Kia actually has some good takes on Twitter, by the way, so check her out if you're interested. She says, since there are so many people saying that it's an exaggeration, I'll share my experience. A few years ago, my uncle was in the process of building an airport, and he had brought in a few planes as well. He was threatened by whites numerous times, but didn't allow them to deter him. Later that night, the building and planes were burnt down, but no one was charged, and there was, quote unquote, no evidence of foul play. Another recent incident was when my mommy purchased Crown land. They did everything in their power to ensure that it wasn't given to her, but it didn't work. Once she began building on it, they stole all of her solar panels and other things off the land. Once again, nothing came out of it because there was, quote unquote, no evidence of foul play. And someone asked what island it was, and they said Abaco. So that brings us back full circle to one of the first tweets, which was the Bahamas is 700 islands and keys. So you can get, from what I understand anyway, you can get a different experience than, say, Nassau, where I'm from. So in Nassau, in my time growing up, and I stopped living there when I was 20, I couldn't tell you of an area where you could walk and white folks will come and tell you, you had to get up out of this area now. The closest thing I knew on Nassau, on the Providence, the capital, there's a gated community that you guys are probably all familiar with because they had a music studio called Compass Point out there where Michael Jackson and the Beatles and stuff recorded music. There's a gated community called Lyford Key. Oprah supposedly has a house back there, etc. So I knew that gated community. I remember I had an uncle and a hurricane was coming. He was doing a little job to take some lumber, I guess, for people to batten down their windows to Lyford Key. And when we pulled up, a guy with a gun came. That's the first time I had seen a gun in Nassau. Guy with a gun came and was like, "What y'all doing? Where y'all going?" You know. So I knew about that as a gated community in terms, which is still fucked up anyway. I never understood why we allowed that. But the sundown town thing was new to me. I'm going to be honest with y'all. And I did some looking into it after I saw this come up. And by the way, this came up because Show Speed was in the Caribbean and, he was in the Bahamas and stuff like that. And so all these different Caribbean discourses came up and the Bahamian Trade decided to bring this one up. which is interesting to me because I went and started looking into it, and there's a particular arch. I should have put up an image of it. There's a particular arch that everyone knows from, like, where Daily Affirmations by Pauline is from. Everyone knows this arch. We call that going over the hill. There was a time where black Bahamians who worked on Bay Street, which is like the downtown of New Providence, if you worked on Bay Street, there was a certain time, 6 p.m., you had to have your ass back over the hill, pass under this arch and get back over the hill. So I knew about those things. And I looked it up and I saw it again, but the sundown towns thing was new to me. And even Daily Affirmation by Pauline says here, look this up and saw very little written on current sundown towns. We need to write more about these behaviors there. So this was new to me. I did not know that there were places where folks was getting at you, white folks was getting at you. That's completely new to me. One last thing I'll say too, we have a kind of a white person, Juana's talked about this before too, that doesn't come across like white folks in America. But I'm reminded that, they are white folks of the Bahamas. And so whatever the white folks of America are capable of and keen to do, these folks probably do the same thing too, but they probably just didn't do it in the island where I'm from. It probably was easier to do that on some of those smaller out islands, I'm saying all that just to give you some context for the whole thing, because and we don't have Buana, who's on the ground there, who could tell you probably a little bit more than I could. So I'm just trying to give some context here. Jacadero, what say you to what you have heard?
So this doesn't surprise me. If this exists, if sundown towns in the Bahamas or even the larger part of the Caribbean islands exist, it wouldn't surprise me. The evidence that I have is personal evidence. As for those that didn't hear earlier, I'm the proud son of Kenyan parents. When I was in Kenya during the 2010s, there are certain neighborhoods where it's just white people, or it's just Indian people, like Indians from India, just them. And if you as a black African Kenyan are around, you'll get questioned by security that looks just like you. Hey, what are you doing here? So it won't even be white people or Indians that will ask you. It will be security that will be like, hey, what are you doing here? Do you live around here? Well, if not, you better get out of here. So it doesn't surprise me. It's frustrating to see that it exists in the Bahamas. It might exist in the Bahamas. I don't have much to say. I will say that do I even know? I don't know where to go from here. I wish maybe this is why I'm not a politician, man. But yeah, if this is true, then it's probably like a situation where it's like Kenya, where there are pockets of places where there are no black people in a black state, a black country. Sad.
Yeah, definitely. I can't believe this is I guess known but not known, because I'm telling you, I never heard no one ever say I was in such and such a area and they ran my ass up out of it. I've never heard that before. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Black Steel, what say you?
Man, let me say this. White people don't have no shame, man. They don't have any shame. And there's something in their psychology, man. Somebody once said racism is a mental illness. I don't agree, but I'm willing to entertain the idea. Because how you go to Africa and want your own stuff? Like, if you don't want to be around black people, They could have just stayed in the Netherlands and from or wherever they were from. My understanding was that once Kenya became independent and it was given black majority rule, all of the settlers left, but apparently some stayed and they got their own little enclaves where they don't want black people, which is boggles my mind because you could go back to England and you could live up in the woods near, Nottingham or wherever the fuck and not see any black people. It's never understood. I never understood that mentality. Like, we don't want y'all black asses, but we do want you, but only for certain times a day, right? Or you can come here, but at 6 o'clock you got to be out of here. Like, it's such a weird thing that goes on with their mentality. Like, we're gonna live here, but you can't come here with us. But we're gonna live in this country. You can have your own little all white enclaves, and it's so in America, right? They used to have all white towns, right? And they would have all black towns too. But then they would turn around and burn down the all black towns. Like, you don't want to live with us. We don't want to live with you. We doing our own thing. You doing our own thing, but you turn around and attack us. Even now, like, it's okay, for example, off topic, but kind of on topic. There's this online directory called Find a Black Doctor, right? And the reason why it exists is because black people tend to have better health outcomes when we have a black doctor. So this white doctor gets a hold of his law firm and he's suing them. And this is a private entity. They're not taking any government money, but he's completely oblivious to the fact. First of all, black women have the highest maternal mortality rate of any group of people in the United States, okay? And they tend to do better when they have a black person who's a doctor with them. Black people are ignored when it comes to pain, all sorts of other medical issues that tend to improve when you have a black doctor. But instead of just leaving us alone, because white people 9 times out of 10 want to be with a white doctor. But when black people want to get a black doctor, we got to sue. So on one hand, you don't want us around you. But the other hand, you don't want us to do our own thing. What is it that you want? It's really such a ridiculous. So you want to have your own private enclave in a black country. Well, you can have your own private enclave in a white country. That means you wouldn't have to hire black people to do domestic work. You wouldn't have to hire black people to do security. You wouldn't have to see another black person in your life. Go to fucking Scandinavia. Go to Finland. All right. You'll never see a black person. Go to Romania. You'll never see a black person. I promise you, you won't. Who the fuck wants to go to Romania? That's where Dracula's from. Okay. You can have that. All right. But yet they want to stay in our places. They want to go to a majority black country and carve out of the space and pull a gun on you if you happen to walk around your country. Like, this is my house, right? But you better not go in that goddamn third bedroom. I'll blow your head off. What? You can just move out my house. It's a sick mentality these people have, right? I didn't know about sundown towns in Bahamas or in Kenya for that matter. I know there exists in the United States. They continue to exist in the U.S. At one point, it was a source of embarrassment. There's a really good book by a sociologist called About Sundown Towns that I have. It's really good. But he talks about, there's a place in Anna, Illinois, which stands for Ain't No Niggas Allowed, Anna. Place in Texas that they just don't let black people in there. Where if you stop, there were black truck drivers who stopped by this place in Texas, and they're told, hey, man, don't stay here overnight. So even into the 21st century. So these sundown towns ain't going anywhere. It's just odd to see them in a majority black country. I don't know what maybe they're paying off the government officials to have this. It could be they have some money involved. I think that may be more than anything. They pay the government and the government is willing to look the other way. But it's just their mentality is just absolutely incredible. Like, you don't have to be around black people ever. No one's forcing you around black people. It's just like when in England, right? There's always talking about immigration going to Great Britain. Great Britain literally colonized a quarter of the world. They colonized all over the world. Why did so many people speak English? But yet now, when those people who they colonized are coming back to England, England, okay. Oh, we can't. We have too many immigrants here. Too many immigrants. Same thing with the French. France is so there's too many immigrants coming to France. I mean, at the same time, you guys don't mind going to Africa and stealing the resources. These white people are crazy, man. They're lunatics. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Black Seal. I'll also add too. Again, this is proof that just communicating with one another across oceans, as RBG talked about earlier, even the beauty of even like the internet is it allows you to have these conversations that I lived in this country. Daily Affirmations by Pauline lived in this country and had to come to the States to learn that there were sundown towns in certain islands, I guess, of this country. It's kind of wild, but it tells you something. It tells you that the issues that we explore here are the same issues we explore or we have to explore everywhere else, like Malcolm X and them would have said back in the day. So it's important for us to talk because you might have solved that problem before. And I'm coming to talk about it. I have the problem now, and you may have the solution. We gotta talk. We gotta talk about these things and try to pinpoint how it happened to you guys. Oh, well, it didn't happen to us that way. Well, how did it happen to you guys? And talk about these things, man. Billy Bob, what say you to everything you heard?
Oh yeah, black folk gonna have to start hurting white folk. It's just that simple. It really ain't nothing you can say, man. Ain't what keep explaining the same shit for all these years. And I heard blacks still talk about their mentality. They went into Africa and took shit. Eventually, we got to stop them from taking shit. They don't want you in their stuff because they don't want you to take their shit. We let people come around. I'm just saying. So black folk gonna have to start doing something to these people, man. All these folks that just come and do all this resource extraction to black folk. Then you can go somewhere and you can get a sundown town on places that's probably 90% black. And black folks complain about the sundown town. That ain't white people problem. That's black people problem. I ain't talking about, I'm saying it's black people problem when you outnumber people like that and they can still treat you like shit. We gonna have to look in the black men, we gonna have to look in the mirror. Let our nuts hang, pull our pack, because I'm just being honest, man. Some of this shit we talk about they do is on us. Some of this stuff we talk about they do is on us. Back to what you was talking about earlier when we were talking about how people study black folk. Yeah, they study black folk. They know what black folk gonna do. We gonna complain about how racist they are. Instead of us, you know what? I complain about how we not racist. Man, it's just time. We gonna have to start doing something different. And it's, to me, it's just that simple. And we're gonna have to stop with, well, if we do this, this will happen to us, or they'll throw us in jail. Sometimes, man, you just gonna have to break the damn law and see what damn happens. If protecting yourself is breaking the law, there's just a law that needs to be broken, man. How can you live somewhere that's damn 90% you and people can tell you don't come here, and the only thing you can do about it is complain? That's go back to like Marcus Garvey said, we have allowed a group of people, white folk, bluff us like they own the world. And now they step into our face all around the world and they challenging us. And we ain't doing that. I hear the mic.
If I can add something, Brother Bakari, what you should have said. If black people were as violent as white people thought we were, they would be extinct a long time ago. I think that's kind of what we talk about with we talk about with Chuck the Builder and, Chuck the Destroyer going around saying the N-word. It took a lot for him to get clapped. It really did. Nobody put hands on him for a long time. They was going around and slapping him, but nobody was really making no moves to kind of end his life. If black people were as half as violent as what white people say we are, right, they would be a lot more careful around us. And that's the thing. On one hand, they claim we're violent, but at the same time, they can not have a violence against us. But they claim we're the violent ones. You know, they always manage to project their issues onto us. So when you deal with a racist like that, I agree. There's no compromise. There's no communication. There's no praying for them. There's no forgiveness. There's no hoping they're going to see the error of their ways. The only thing they can get is their ass beat. What did John Henry Clark say? The only thing black people owe anybody is an ass whooping, right? And I think that we're nowhere near as violent as they think we are. And truth be told, we're maybe not as we should be, because that is consistently shown the only thing that they respect is violence. Why are they backing off Iran and messing with Cuba? Because Iran can hurt them and Cuba can't. And that is the problem that we're going to see here, is that they respect violence. They respect the ability, you can get me off of you, okay, I'll respect that, I'll leave you alone, right? Other than that, they're going to keep coming. They're going to keep coming. So I do certainly understand what Brother Picard is saying, and I agree. Till we start putting foot to ass, there's going to be more sundown town. They're going to feel empowered to do that. So I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Appreciate that. You know what? We got a few minutes before 11. I think I got everyone on that topic just now. Let's do a bit of a palate cleanser, because that definitely left a bad taste in my spirit to know that there's still sundown towns. I had no idea. Let's go to Shooter Breeze topic number 6. This will be the last topic of the night. Shooter Breeze topic number 6 says, is this a great analogy for black people to learn from? And this takes us to a short on YouTube. Let's watch, and then we'll discuss.
You have no idea how nasty rats can get. This convenience store kept getting wrecked by rats. So the furious owner finally put down a glue trap. And what the security camera caught was unbelievable. The first rat got stuck and started thrashing like crazy, but the second another rat walked by, it suddenly froze and acted like everything was totally fine. Then, the moment the other rat stepped onto the trap, it started struggling again. And somehow, it gets worse. It was not just one rat doing it. Every single one of them did the same thing. As soon as another rat came near, they stopped fighting and played innocent, almost like they were luring the next one in. Male, female, young, old, it did not matter. One after another, they kept tricking their own kind until the whole glue board was packed. In that moment, there was no teamwork, no loyalty, no helping each other out. The second danger showed up, all they cared about was dragging someone else down with them. And honestly, that is what makes this so disturbing. Sometimes survival does not bring out loyalty. Sometimes it brings out pure selfishness. You have no idea how...
Should be topic number 6. Let me hear from you guys in the chat as well, man. Let's not get quiet out there in the chat. Is this or what we saw just now, was that a great analogy for black people to learn from? Let's see if anyone even sees it as noteworthy in the group. Let me start with Jackadero on this one. Jackadero, what are your thoughts?
Woo! You said it was a palate cleanse. It might also, we might need another one to have a better palate. But no, I'm not gonna. I'm supposed to take your job in the fall, not in the summer, man. But is this a great analogy for black people? Yeah, one. I feel that as much, the negative gets highlighted, we have a lot of positive things, man. So number one, South Sudan became the newest country in the world because of backing from neighboring. I mean, it was a lot of, what do they say? Somebody said it earlier, many hands make light work, because of a lot of hands, especially in the East African community. The East African community fought hard for the birth of South Sudan as a nation state. Again, South Sudan is one of the oldest lands possible. Kush Kingdom, for those that are Judeo-Christianic of the faith. But South Sudan itself, that was a showing of Pan-Africanism. We earlier talked about Nelson Mandela. That the end of apartheid was an entire showcase of Pan-Africanism. Angola helped out with having the anti-apartheid soldiers train in their country. Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe, is credited heavily with housing a lot of anti-apartheid soldiers. One of the first countries, if not the first country, that Nelson Mandela went to after being released was Uganda. Idi Amin welcomed him. Or I'm sorry, 93. Whew, let me get this right. I think by then Museveni was in office, but nonetheless, Tanzania, Uganda, Angola, even Cuba, even Fidel Castro sent Cuban soldiers to fight against the apartheid regime in South Africa. I think we do a lot of what that clip was about these rats selling out one another. I think we do more good. It's just that sometimes and a lot politics and social things is two different things. So let's get that clear. What happens politically, and again, most African countries just got their independence in the 60s and the 70s, and we're going up against nations that have had the United States, right? The world's bully, 1776. I think this year is the 250th year of this imperialist state. They're celebrating 250 years. 250 years. Hoo-wee. You talk about somebody that just had their 60th independence anniversary. So we still got a lot. We are still building, but where the building is happening, there are countries and there are individuals that are saying, "Nah, I stretch my hand out as a way to pull you in instead of as a way to harm you or physically assault you." The AES here in Omaha, Nebraska, there's a lot going on. One of the things that was highlighted was there's an all-black girls middle school that was founded and being funded by Black peoples here in Omaha, Nebraska, guys. Our first Black mayor was elected by us. You'll hear more about it when we give the shout-outs, but the Empowerment Network was a hard drive for our first Black mayor, Mr. John Ewing, here in Omaha, Nebraska. So is it something that we can learn from? Sure, but I feel like Black people are stepping and have been stepping in the right direction.
I appreciate that, Jack. In the chat, Zuli says, somebody going to say it's not the rat, it's the person who put the trap. Watch. Trigger Happy 262 Plus says, I think of it as Black people not having strong survival instincts and falling for the same repeated tactics over and over again. He says the rats didn't stop to see that another rat was trapped and take a careful approach and just went in. Zuli says, blame the person who put the trap. Don't blame the rats. Zuli, come on up. Have your thoughts heard before we close out tonight. With that said, going down the line, Black Steel, what would you say to Should the Breeze topic number 6?
So first, let me see if my understanding is the first rat got in trouble, and instead of warning the other rats about the trouble he was in, he let the other rats be lured into the same trap he was in, because misery loves company, crabs in a barrel sort of mentality, right? Is that maybe my understanding of the analogy, or how it's being framed, right? First of all, I will say this: Black people, African people all over the world, for the most part, are usually very supportive of each other, right? Whenever a Black person is in trouble, usually they get help, be it from the community. I'm not saying all the time, but I think that if Black people did not have a strong sense of cooperation and unity, to the extent that we do, we would not have existed or survived as a people. And I think that our survival starts to come into question when we start to lose that. We are not rats. I don't like that comparison, but I also understand what they're trying to say. But I don't think it applies to Black people as a whole, because if a Black person is in danger, usually we kind of give a heads up. Hey, what's up, my brother? Hey, watch out, brother. That's where the whole term "stay woke" comes from, right? Well, we got to stay woke to be aware of danger, be aware of the problems that are coming. Most Black people don't revel in seeing another Black person suffer unless they really deserve it. If you're a traitor to the people, then yeah. But usually, if you caught up in the system, you just kind of want to give another Black person a heads up. I definitely don't see that this analogy would be one that Black people really follow. But I do think it can be said that, if the analogy is trying to say, hey, look out for your fellow man, warn them of the danger. I don't know, but I don't know if this analogy. But off topic, man, I hate rats, though. I hate rats, I hate rodents, I hate gerbils, I hate rabbits, all of them. I remember one time my son, at his school, they had a pet gerbil. He wanted to bring it home from the school. I said, hell no, you bring that rodent in my house. So I don't do rodents or rats or any type of creatures that squeak. They were making the video almost let me throw my laptop. So no, I don't do that. The best way to get rid of a rat is the snap trap, because it breaks their neck quickly. The glue traps, they stay trapped in those. They can break their legs. They can pull their skin off. It's very nasty. Just, use a snap trap. Quicker, cleaner, faster. Off topic, but I'll drop the mic there.
I appreciate that, though, Black Steel. I really do. Billy Bob, what say you?
How many different rap projects they gonna compare to Black people, man?
It's feeling kind of weird. Sorry, it's feeling kind of weird.
There's a lot of them they have used for Black folks. I get what I kind of get the message. The message can be you don't stick together. The message can be what Black Steel just said, this show you how you should want to stick with your fellow man and work together. But another rat project, is it something that can be learned from that? Yes, that is something Black people can learn from that. We can take it and use it as a positive message, or we can spin it and use some negative from it. But yes, it's you can take something from that if we choose. But like Black Steel wouldn't, because he said we ain't rats. Because we hate rats, because he hate rats. But I understand the analogy, and it can be spent a few ways, and that is something, I guess, if you want to use to teach, because we are not rats, but we are smarter than rats, I think. So we should be able to say, you know what? Okay, so if we stuck in a trap, let me scream to my man can come help me. The rat wasn't smart enough to scream to his man and say, look, yo, give me some help. He let him come on there with him. So it can be spent a lot of different ways on that. And Black Steel, the best way to kill a rat. This comes from a rat project, the analogy they tried to use for Black folks. The best way to kill a rat, they say, is when they did the rat project in a house, and it's compared to white Black people in projects. You teach a rat, start a rat out, the big rat, till he started to kill and eat other rats. Then he just hunt rats and eat them, because you kept him in here long enough and he done got used to it. They say that's the best way to do it. They say that's better than rat trap. I get it right.
I thank you for that, Billy Bob. I I remember, and I talked about this on Shoot the Breeze a long time ago, but I remember leaving off the college campus years ago, many, many moons ago. And a black guy was talking to a teenage youth and saying, "What happened? You afraid to go to jail, huh? You're a pussy, you're afraid?" And I usually don't get into those conversations. I usually walk by, but that one I couldn't ignore, and I had to say something like, "Hey man, why are you trying to encourage that fella to go to jail and stuff like that?" I think in that analogy, I would have been the rat in this image who just got quiet. Just got quiet and just watched that youth. And I don't know what became of the youth, but I could have just remained silent, just been still, and let that kid walk right into the bullshit without some dissenting thought in his head that might deter him from what this guy, the track that this guy was trying to put him on. I think that's what I get from this analogy. That a lot of times we see a lot of stuff, we don't say nothing much about it. I'll give another quick example. You know, women now are complaining about trans women, referring to them as cis women. And the problem with that, and it's a lot of black women complaining about it. The problem with that is, miss, we told you don't allow that shit to happen. We spoke up. We didn't stay still like the rat on the trap. We shook. We said some shit. Hey, don't allow them to do that stuff. Don't allow this bringing trans people into women's sports and all this kind of stuff like that. We told y'all that, but y'all ushered that shit in. Now you want to complain out of the tear and telling and othering you a full biological woman. So that's the kind of analogies I get from this, just for y'all to know. Let's welcome in Icon Fire this week. Icon, how are you?
Hey, what's going on, my people? Respect to everyone.
Yes, Icon, did you see this video here?
No, I haven't seen it, but I actually came on because your title surprised me. I like it. Rastafari have been what you'd call in the shadows, doing greatness, I think. But I haven't seen the video. You're gonna play it again?
I'm not gonna play the video again because no, I won't play it again because some people don't like rodents. I should have thought about that before. But basically, there's a glue trap. You can see it right there. You can see it right there. There's a vending machine. There's a glue trap. If you look closely, you'll see, and it's not rats, by the way, these are mice. You know, just.
Oh yes, I've seen that video somewhere else.
These are mice. Okay then. So yeah. So talk about that. What did you take from it? Is the analogy something that black people can learn from? What did you take from that video, and how would you apply it to the black circumstance?
Actually, I wouldn't. People, we have ears. I don't know how rats communicate. You feel me? But we have ears and logic. Most of what's affecting black people is censorship. So a lot of us are censored from the truth. A lot of us are raised in, it's like you were born in the realm of iniquity. So you were raised in the realm of iniquity. And you are 80% of you have a 90% rate of becoming a child of iniquity, or a person who dictates iniquity when you become grown. So that's what's going on. And When it comes to goodness, where like Rastafari is uttering what you'd call mental liberation, you feel me, from the censorship, a lot of us see that as new. A lot of us see goodness as new and even going against the grain. You feel me? So we as Black people, Pan-Africanists, have an uphill journey in terms of to get a critical mass of conscious people. It's an uphill journey because the censorship and the propaganda mediocrity is 250 years old, as someone said. You feel me? So that's what's going on. And we might look like, I don't think that have nothing to do with how we operate as a people. I don't think so.
All right, I
That's
appreciate that, Icon. I appreciate that. Let's welcome in our brother Zuli. Zuli, how are you this week?
Hey, what's up, man? I have
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. I have two things to say about this. Number one, it could be applied to Black people, but then we gotta look at this video. Based on what I've known, mice actually don't do that. If you set up a trap for a mouse, they usually go back and tell the other mouse not to go on this road. And I've seen it. Like I went to one of my neighbors in Brooklyn. She has a bunch of traps set up around her apartment. If she catches one mouse a month, it's a miracle. So that again is trying to control us in a way that I don't like. But let's go and say that let's apply this to our people. This could apply to it's in relationships like misery love company. People giving you wrong advice, knowing that that advice is gonna keep you in this BS. A lot of our people, they go into their drama, you asking for advice, they're not gonna give you the right advice because they're going to certain shit. Or even in a relationship, you might ask somebody for advice, but because of the social engineering environment we in, you can't tell people the truth because everybody believes in subjective truth. There's no absolute truth. Oh, it's my truth. It's her truth. It's his truth. So this is the trap. Now in our society right now, these are the social traps. Like another thing, we like the trap. That trap that those monsters are in, we love it. Which you mentioned earlier about the whole warning people about the trans situation. Now you cannot, now the social engineering, the social censorship keeps you from telling people about the trap. And once you start telling people about the trap, you become public enemy number one. So this could perfectly be added not just to Black people, to this environment we have as a whole. Even let's go take it something even more easier, like eating fried food. These food that are not good for you. Oh, let her. Oh, he's fat. She's fat. You can't tell somebody that. You can't tell your kid, yo, you fat. You need to lose weight. You can't tell your woman she's fat. She needs to lose weight. No, you are being fat phobic. All of these things are the Black trap. We are in love with the Black trap now in our society. And it's not just applied to Black people. It's to, especially, I'm just talking, I don't know how it is in other, maybe in the Caribbean, sometimes you might be able to tell somebody the truth and they might listen to you. But that Black trap is the drug. It's the rap music. It's the previous behavior, that the sexual overtone in our music, in our movies, all of that is that Black trap. But now you cannot tell them about the Black. Like if you have a girl, if your girl's going out and you tell her, hey man, you can't put that, that's too short. Oh no, misogyny, you trying to control Black women's body. All of that. That Black trap is what we're living in today. So I don't know if I agree with this, because basically I've seen mice. They are very smart. They tell you mice are one of the smartest things. If one gets trapped, this is AI. I don't even believe this is true. But again, this is part of the engineering to say you to keep you on that black trap. That's how I feel about it. But well, we could apply it to everybody. It's like everybody. It's not just to black people. To be honest, it's the whole people who are being manipulated and programmed about how that black trap is dope. It's like I could give you an example. Oh, work 300 hours a week so you could buy a Benz. Meanwhile, the Benz are the worst qualities of all time. Oh, buy this. Put the wig on. That makes you feel beautiful. That's the black trap. But we are in love with the black trap, and we are made believe that the black trap. See, when most of us are on the black trap, we're not wiggling like that. We're not saying, "Oh, brother, you need to go to sleep 8 hours a day. You not should be killing yourself like this. Oh, we should be more courteous to each other as we walk in." They don't tell you about that. It's individualism, money chasing. All of that is the black trap. Is that trap right there? But that's how I see it. I'm telling you, a lot of the time, people are gonna say, "Oh." Now, my only thing when I put on the things that people are gonna say is the person who created the trap, because I'm saying if we say we have freedom, what's it called? Free will. Why are we not let's look by this. The first 2 rats, okay, I get it. But to have 50, 30, 40 rats on that, bro, you didn't see that your homie couldn't move? That's why I know this is AI. Rats don't operate like that. They make noise when they get on this trap. But again, that's part of the programming that you can't do nothing about it except the black trap, to me. So, I mean, I had something else to say. When I remember, I'll say it. But that's all I got right now for that.
Let me just interject here and correct a thing or two. You can very well trap mice like this. Mice. I used to work in a rodent lab. Mice can get caught like this. It's harder to catch a rat with this. It's harder to catch a rat in a glue trap. They tend to notice patterns better. And based on how rats move, for example, rats tend to move close to a wall. They don't move out in the open, whereas mice do roam out into the open like this. So you can catch them in groups like this. They do get quiet when other mice come around, and they do vocalize too, which is a part of the analogy. I think the thing that Razuli hit on in that one of the analogies you can take from this is that when we see bad actors in our community, we tend to get quiet about it, which I kind of alluded to earlier. We tend to just get quiet about it. We don't say nothing, and like Azuli said, because a lot of our folks don't want criticism. They don't want to be told what to do. They don't want to be told nothing. So you just get quiet and you just let it run.
It's
like
the Dr. Shine thing that's going on, right? And people may not like this guy, and I think me and Koku spoke about it, and he doesn't really like this guy. So I'm gonna say this. Corey Holcomb exposed her a year and a half ago. She's been allowed to go on every show talking her, "Oh, I'm a doctor this, I'm a doctor that." And anybody who trying to criticize her, they call them a hater, this and that and the third, or you hating on the black woman, this and that and the third. They were happy to set up that black trap, even though the trap is not good for the community. So what I'm saying, I understand what you said, Coco, about the rats, but about the mice. I've seen it. They said mice are really smart. Mice and rats are really smart. They're not really dumb like that and stuff like that, like people think. I guess maybe you could get a couple, but to have 40 on the trap, like they're gonna keep walking in the open like that. See, they can't see. But I'm just saying again, even that video, we should be careful who put that video. It's a way to tell you that, oh, most of us are not gonna look out for each other. Meanwhile, like like one time I had a similar experience with you, as you said about the young man, but mine was different. I was on the junction and I see a couple of boys arguing. And then I see this young man, he got a large knife in his hand. He might have been like 10 or 11, chasing the boys. Nobody did nothing. Well, I stepped in. I said, yo, what are you doing? And he tells me, oh, they were bullying me, this and that, and the third. Yo, I took the knife away from the young man and I don't know who I gave it to. I said, yo, bro, you can't do that. But guess what? Majority of people saw it. Nobody said anything. And it was just going to go on. And I'm saying, when we are also got to look at when most people don't say anything, it's because there's an unseen censorship. Now, if Kogu has a son in the street and he's acting crazy, and I go check him, he might go tell his daddy, and his daddy gonna come tell me, why am I talking to his son like that? Back in the days, like I know a lot of the brothers on the panel are older gentlemen. Like when we were kids, if we acting out in the street, a neighbor could tell us, hey, what are you doing? Or it's gonna go tell our parents. So that trap right there is so complicated. It's in the fabric of our society right now. So most people remain quiet, just like this black trap, because they don't want to lose their job. They don't want to be socially ostracized. They don't want to lose money. They want to get girls. They want to get boys. They want to climb the social ladder or the economic ladder. So it's very I don't know, it's very problematic. I don't know if I'm saying what I'm trying to say, but that black trap right here, I think right now in our social, is very woven inside the fabric of the society. Everywhere, money, even some of our actors and leaders. Yo, I remember I put something that, and I know on this chat they killed me for it too. I sent a video where a black mayor was stealing money from the black community doing this. I put it in the chat. They were mad at me. Oh, the white man is doing it. Why you ain't? But I'm like, this black mayor ran her campaign or his campaign saying that I'm for you, I'm for black people, I'm for this, I'm for that. And they ended up doing the same thing as a so-called white mayor, stealing money. So now by me criticizing that, oh no, brother, you're a hater, or you hate black people, da 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 da. So those mouths right there, they don't say nothing. I'm saying us, if you want to put the analogy, and a lot of us, sometimes you can't say nothing. When you say something, that's your ass. So if I'm trying to protect my family, if I'm trying to send my kids to school, I'm just gonna keep my head quiet and move. That's all I gotta say for that.
Appreciate that, Uzuli. Thanks for coming through. Also, by the way, if there's no last thoughts on this front, man, let's go to our shout outs. I'd like everyone who's still here, give their shout out for something positive they experienced or something positive they saw in the black world that you'd like to shout out. This is for the panelists and for the chat. So chat, I know you guys are still out there. Drop all your shout outs. I'll read them out after I get everyone's shout out on the panel. I'm just going to go straight down the line. Billy Bob, what are your shout outs? Brother Bakari, what are your shout outs for the week? All right, I guess Bakari isn't there. Azulius, and what would you like to shout out this week?
I'm just gonna shout out. I shout out you for your show. You keep doing your show every Saturday. And shout out the panelists for coming and debating iron, shopping iron. I want to shout out everybody in the world who are trying to awaken, who's doing their best to be happy, to keep their community going, who are trying to fight the good fight. You know, shout out to the people who got hope. Because sometimes me, I don't have hope no more. But shout out to y'all who still got the good hope and keep going, man. That's all I have to say.
Appreciate that, Urzuli. Urzuli, real quick, are you going out to BAM this year?
Yo, bro. I just the other day I was thinking about it going, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm bammed out. I'm Dance Africa out because I did it like five, and there's something in there that's missing. I can't put my hands on it. And it was raining today, right? Did you go today?
No, it was raining. Yeah.
Yeah, it was raining. So I don't know. Tomorrow I might be if it doesn't rain tomorrow. I'm going down to Brooklyn. I might go down over there, but I'm not gonna lie to you, Goku. I have lost the motivation to go because I did it a lot of time and sometimes when I go, even and this is another thing, even when you go to this venue, the love that I expect from each other, I don't see it there. So I don't know, that could just be me, but I might be down there this if it's sunny tomorrow, I'll head down to Brooklyn and I'm gonna shout you out. If you're gonna go, we could go together if I'm there.
All right, cool. I can fight. We'd like to shout out this week.
Hey man, I came in late. I wanna shout out all the Rastafari community and appreciate them for the fight and say sorry to the black for the black world to underestimate Rastafari and underappreciate Rastafari. And shout out to the Pan-African world for accepting consciousness, because it is proven that these are the smartest black people existing. Thank you. That's it.
All right, appreciate that. I can find Jacadero. What would you like to shout out this week? The floor is yours.
All right, so I got 3 shout outs, but before I say that, you guys, you and Uzuli talked about going out this weekend. If the Knicks pull this off, New York is about to be on fire. All world. This is honest to God, bro. Honest in your side. This 27 years of no finals, Uzuli. 27 years, no finals.
I'm gonna say this. I'm not a Knicks fan, right? But if the Knicks win, New York is I'm stepping out. New York is gonna go crazy. I know New York is about to go crazy. New York making it to the final this year. New York is gonna go crazy. I'm telling you.
This is, bro, Uzuli. I got a homeboy that lives in Hoboken. I know it's not New York.
Yeah.
But I will fly to Jersey just to get hype. I'm serious. I am so serious, man. 27 years.
Yo,
27.
Last year they almost went crazy. If y'all remember, there was beating Pacer fans. Nah, last year I was talking about. I say there's a reason why the Knicks didn't win last year, because y'all was gonna bring the whole city down. I'm telling you, all the New Yorkers on this. If the Knicks make it to the final, no, they look like they're gonna make it. But if they win, New York is gonna get burned down. I'm sorry.
It's like this. It's like this. You can't, because after tonight's game, you know that, like, I was just back and forth just watching the screen, and I was like, oh my God, now they're up 3-0. It will be a crushing, which is less likely to happen. It'll be crushing if they don't. But if they just make it to the finals, I'm telling you right now, whether it's the Thunder or whether it's the Spurs, bro, New York is showing up. And every Madison Square Garden game, every home game for the Knicks, bro, it's a party, bro.
I didn't know that. Nah, it's over. The Knicks are not gonna lose 3-4 straight games to the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's really not too Harden. Nothing like, come on, son. Harden is just one of the weakest. I don't even know. Bro, New York is gonna go crazy. Yo, no wonder my phone has been going. Oh my God, these Knicks fans are gonna go crazy, bro. We're going to the finals. New York's going to the finals. Ain't no way.
I'm telling you, it was so hard to pay attention to the last prompt because I was like, "Yo, are they doing it? 3-0 and they won the bro 3-0.
New York is gonna be on fire.
Koku, Koku, whatever plans that you have this upcoming next week, bro, if anybody try to go in the city, if anybody try to go to Manhattan this upcoming week, bro, be prepared to have the streets on gridlock, man. It's gonna be
the streets on fire. I just saw it, bro. I just went, yo, the Knicks are about to sweep Cleveland. This is crazy. Oh, no, New York is on fire. Yo,
all right.
Goku, you might have to cancel the last Bro, you might have to, bro. This is crazy.
This is nuts. This is all right. My shout outs. All right, first shout out. Shout out to Koku, man. Shout out to Koku giving me the opportunity to lead you guys. Let me not even say lead, to be a part of Shoot the Breeze family, the Bitter Medicine podcast, and Quaz Radio, man. It's an honor. What can I say? It's an honor. So shout out to Koku and shout out to everybody, man. The panelists, the chat, all the people that tune in each and every Saturday, and the Discord as well. If you don't already know, get on the Discord. Second shout out, Cuba. I want to give a shout out to Cuba. Why? The United States has said, hey, Raul Castro, yeah, we want him. And just like how we did Nicolas Maduro, we're going to go in there and get him. And the president of Cuba, Mr. Diaz-Canel, said, yeah, if you come in here, just know it's going to be a bloodbath. You're not about to leave here like the way you guys left Venezuela. Bro, some of your guys is dying. He said bloodbath. Bro, that means something. That means something. That, Cuba has been on record time and time again telling the U.S., yo, come through. We got you. we got you. You know how they say bullets have no names? We got bullets with your name, bro. The Bay of Pigs. For those that are historians or historian buffs, man, you already know the story of the Bay of Pigs. Cuba stopped a U.S. invasion. A U.S. invasion, man. Cuba. Woo! So, man, shout out to Cuba. And then last shout out, man, we got the World Cup coming up. All the Caribbean teams, Haiti for the first time in over 50 years qualified for a World Cup. Woo! Let's go, Haiti. Let's go all the African teams as well. If you guys want to pay attention to some special games, I believe on the 13th of June, France and Senegal will play each other. France and Senegal, guys. France and Senegal, man. So, I know that some of you guys might be fans of Mbappe and Dembele. I get that. But come on, let's go Senegal. Let's go Sadio Mane. Come on, the reigning best African player. Forget Mo Salah. It's Mane. Oh, come on now. Come on, you guys saw the AFCON. It's Sadio Mane, man. Come on. And then another game to pay attention to on June 19th, Brazil and Haiti play in Philadelphia. Yo, Azuli, Koku, I might need you guys to pull up if I get my hands on air tickets, not for the game, but just to be around Philly that time. Again, Haiti and Brazil will play in Philly against each other. So, Azuli, Koku, don't be surprised if I hit you guys up and I'm like, hey, can you guys get to Philly, on like a 2-day notice? And man, let's meet up. Let's try to watch that game. And yeah, bro, let's meet each other in real life at for the first time. But with that being said, and then last but not least, I'm part of the Empowerment Network here in Omaha, Nebraska. Azuli, you said that you've given up hope, bro. The Empowerment Network, we, along with, of course, the Black community here in Omaha, we got our first mayor elected in Omaha, in Nebraska history. We got our first Black mayor elected. Us, the Empowerment Network. That should tell you that, man, come on, man, forget hope. We do real work. It's the Empowerment Network. You can visit us at www.empoweromaha.com. Come on now, it's the Empowerment Network. We just had the 19th annual Rebuilding a Village conference. Come on now, what are you waiting for, huh? I'm Jacadero, and that is my shout out. The Empowerment Network, the World Cup, and of course Cuba. Let's get it.
Appreciate all of you. Culture, education. So shout out to Brother Koku for his years of service. Trighabi says shouts out to the show. Great show once again. Yeah, shout out to all of you. It's been a wonderful time kind of conceiving this show idea, seeing it, happen damn near every week for however many years now, 6 years, 7 years, something like that, 6 years. So I appreciate you guys. I want to shout out Buana. Buana has been big in Shoot the Breeze being a thing, from topics to inviting people to come through and check it out. So my shout outs to Buana this week in light of me stepping down as the host, as the regular host coming this fall. But shout out to all of you guys. Shout out to Buana. Hope all is well with him. Shout out to Brother Bakari, who was here tonight. Shout out to the Discord. You guys, please join the Discord. And if you're on the Discord, please be more engaging on the Discord. Post topics for Shoot the Breeze. Post stuff that's out there and weird and different and engaging, and invite people to come through to check out what we do here. I think we do a good thing here. I just wish we had more people here to witness it, to then go and tell others about it and let the word about this show spread. So hopefully that's what y'all will do for Jacadero when he's the host now. Hopefully y'all will help to spread the word. Until next time, you guys be good. I'll talk to y'all. Peace.